February CPI data just out. Year-over-year number appears to be in line with expectations, 7.9% versus 7.9% expected. So as expected means the market over here catching a little bit of a bid at the moment, starting to move back to the upside. Bit of a delay, it would appear, on the month-over-month number. We also got U.S. jobless claims data there. Looks like they're higher, 11,000-ish, 227,000 for the prior week. But the big number, again, 7.9% on the year-over-year CPI data there, as expected, in line with expectations. Overall, the market was lower heading into heading into this number this morning. Getting all choked up about CPI and inflation here. The market was lower going into this number, but as I said, catching a bit of a bid back to the upside here, coming off that impressive rally we saw yesterday. All three U.S. indexes back to the upside in a big way yesterday, but we are still in negative territory here. Not much of a reaction overall, to be honest with you here. Energy prices back in focus once again this morning. Crude back to the upside, more than 4.5%. I mean, we were down huge yesterday, falling nearly $15 a barrel for crude oil at one point. We have earnings to talk about as well. CrowdStrike with a good report this morning. Obviously, Amazon announcing a split following Google 20-1. We'll talk about Amazon, what that means going forward. Lots to discuss. It's Thursday, March 10th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Look at where we're at right now. That's off the lows, so we are still in negative territory, as I mentioned there, but a little bit better at this point. 1.19 now for the NASDAQ. The Dow still full percent as well. S&P there or thereabouts. 0.4 for the futures here in Toronto to the downside. Crude oil, yeah, as I mentioned, a little bit of a pullback there. 4% now. It was up about 4.5. Bitcoin and Ethereum back to the downside as well. 0.8 for the month-over-month number, so in line both on the year-over-year and month-over-month number, which should be good, I guess, at this point. Good morning, guys. We are at the last hurdle, I guess, before the Fed decision and interest rate hike coming up next week. So in line, 7.9 is a huge number still.
Yeah, good morning. All that doom and gloom that's like, oh, it's going to be worse than expected, 8 point whatever was being thrown around, and it's bracing you for in line. I feel like the exact same thing happened, maybe it was 1 or 2 ago, where you had people saying it was going to be so much worse than expected. It came in line. The market is going to like it because it was, a lot of people, I guess, bracing for the worst. We'll see what happens here today, but there's a lot more. I mean, obviously CPI is a big deal, but there's a lot to get to. Amazon split, like you said, Rivian aftermarket earnings, and we'll talk about a few one way or the other. CrowdStrike versus Asana. When you're priced that way, and Asana is a little bit expensive, you can get shellacked down 25% today. So there's a lot for us to get to here in today's action. And of course, oil still on everybody's mind. Although we're going to get a gas price decrease apparently tomorrow.
Yeah, 15 cents. Sorry, Ms. Jackson, but we just took some money out of this market again. Thanks for all the love on the Twitter post that I had there. Check it out. We'll post it up a little bit. But there we go. We went long in that market. We called this yesterday. We called this for a while. The market should bounce here, and I just feel like we got too doom and gloom. But it doesn't mean that the market's going to rip up the rest of the day. It's just a nice little bump right here. Let's see where we go. We're still down 0.87%, but more to come, man. This market probably turns green. We're already long. We're 70 cents in the money right now, and yeah, we're not sorry at all, Ms. Jackson. We're ready to rock this market to the high side. This is what we're talking about. The bull is here. We've been pretty positive the last couple of days. We called that 4% yesterday. It happened. I don't know. I mean, this is a nice bump up right now. The funny thing is X food and energy is only plus 0.5. But, I mean, food and energy is the number one thing that most people need to survive. So that's going to be a big problem there. And, yeah, plus 0.5 on that number, but 7.9 overall. And like you said, Neil, there's always those pundits out there that know a hell of a lot more than we do that predicted 8.7, 8.9, this and that. comes in as is, but we'll see. Who knows? This is a nice move to the upside. We did get that monster move yesterday, so I do expect a little bit of a pullback here today. Let's see, man. This rug could get pulled at any time, and I mean, that's the big thing. We're not through anything. Russia and Ukraine yesterday, talks not going well, right? That's not good. Oil still up 4% again today. So, I mean, there's lots happening. We're going to hold this long. We just took out 50 cents on that one, so we're catapulting ourselves already. And yeah, it's been a good day. I'll put that Miss Jackson link up there. The bull is shedding its horns. Yeah, it's still up. It's still kicking, and we'll see. We'll see. It's been a nice little run the last couple of days. Amazon news as well, Brendan. I mean, let's just see where we go from here.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Another couple of data points for you. Energy prices specifically 3.5% to the upside. Food 1%, which were both a little bit lower than expected as well. So also on the positive side here, CME futures, interest rate futures now pointing to a 95% chance of a quarter-point hike coming up next week for the Fed. So yeah, we're testing pre-market highs here for the market. So pretty good look, still negative, but we'll see what happens as we get closer to the open here. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, trading family. I wish you a wonderful, profitable day. Please don't forget to like this video, and let's get it started, Brendan.
Yeah, let's jump right in, guys. Lots to get through as we head through to the open this morning. We're talking Amazon, obviously. The big news after market yesterday coming out following along with Google. 20 for 1 for AMZ. And I mean, we were talking, guys, the possibility of that meaning Google will have to be added to the Dow. Obviously, we have to have the same conversation here now with Amazon.
Well, it's kind of funny because I think we all said 3 different names for if Google got added to the Dow, and now you can throw Amazon in there, and I think there's someone else I think people are bandying could get thrown to the Dow, another big tech name. So maybe all 3 of those suggestions could end up coming back in there, but that's not all that this is about. Obviously, we all know that splits are pretty much cosmetic. There are some good signs. I mean, more options trading there. They're talking about flexibility for their for their employees. I chuckle at that because flexibility to manage your employees' shares when you do the split just makes it easier for them to sell. But anyway,
I thought that was in reference to the buyback.
Well, there is a buyback as well.
Yeah, because
they sprinkled that as well.
Yeah, but the buyback was nothing though. That 10 million is an absolute shame.
But you sprinkle it after you have that poor growth. And that's what's supposed to help things, right?
I mean, Amazon's earnings, I don't know if you see them. Anyways, so we're going to get out of this, by the way, the Qs. Or take 50 cents and then lose 50 cents. The ECB came out there with horrible projections. So that's bad. So there it is. We'll be out of this, and there we go. So make 50 cents, lose 50 cents, and after all that, we flat. So yeah, we go from eating lobster to waiting to see what we eat when the market opens. But there it is. So, you know, in and out. And I just posted them in there. Like, that came out of nowhere. I didn't even realize ECB was doing anything. Inflation 5.1 versus 3.2. Yeah, so, and they see it worse and forward-looking bad. GDP growth worse as well, 3.7 versus 4.2% for the ECB. So they came out and definitely put cold water on that U.S. number there. So I think it'll bounce back. I don't think Europe is super, super important right now to the U.S. CPI number, but we'll wait to see here. I think we'll take this back long again if it does break one more time back to the long side. I just got to get that order in. But what I was talking about with Amazon was, remember on Amazon earnings, what we wound up doing there. We wound up going back and forth there through 33. Did it get back up to? This is the daily range, so we'll just check this out in a second. I just want to make sure I go long if we do punch back through 331 there. Yeah, so here's where's their earnings? Right in here, I guess. Yeah, it went to 32. Yeah, it was this day. 32.50. And then it went right back in yesterday to that range that they're in at. So right back here to 2,700. You're getting the bump up to 29 today. So let's see, we just went back long into the market there. So yeah, Amazon still hovering around the bottoms. I don't think the split changes much. Like Neil said, it's just a cosmetic change. It was up yesterday 8% in the aftermarket. It's faded back in here today. So we'll see what happens. There's the big bump up and then coming back to 29. So let's see where we go. I mean, it could have a 3,000 peg to it. It's 20 to 1, right? So if it gets to 3,000, and I'm not sure. Did you see the date?
June.
Okay.
Okay. So
Google's
June
is
6th.
July. I'm pretty sure.
Is it June 6th? June 6th, I think it is, and then June 3rd, of course. Well, June 6th is when they'll be trading split adjusted. June 3rd would be
So you're going to go to
Friday,
150 bucks. I mean,
150 bucks.
if you stays at $3 grand, you're going to go to 150 bucks. And then like Neil mentioned there, it's big for retail, gives it more options, which will give it that, you know, that little push possible. And yeah.
Then, because we say it before, but like the Dow, of course, being price weighted for historical reasons, or I don't even know if that's, I don't know what the reasons are anymore, but that's just how it is. So it means that these names like Google, you know, Alphabet and Amazon can't be in there. When you go down to 150, suddenly they can be included, and that's just, it gets them in an index that people can track. And
remember, it's new CEO now, right? Good, so Jeff Bezos is pieced out. So
yeah, and they haven't been about the split since
exactly.
Since before I started trading, that's for sure.
All right, Brendo.
Data there as well. They came out this morning and said they were actually going to increase the rate as to which they were going to taper, and now they come out with GDP projections that are, very bad, as Sean was saying there. I want to mention this, guys. Crude oil just breaking back higher through these pre-market levels here around 114. Big move down, obviously. We discussed it in depth yesterday, but here we go now. 5% back to the upside here for oil, guys.
Once again, it's going to be whipsaw ride. By the way, I did take a short in Asana. We'll definitely talk about that, but they traded 30 times. Sales, not earnings, man. Sales. And then you're going to miss. You're gonna get
that's what a lot of these companies.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. So like a bit afraid, they're not afraid, but reluctant to short some of these things when they're down like 25%, because you say to yourself, it can't. But when it's already that expensive, believe me, these can go further. But oil, it's breaking out a little bit here today. Now, we talked about Occidental yesterday, and when someone asked the question, why do you think it was so strong? My only reasons I can put to that are nobody believes that the pullback in oil is anything but short-lived. That's a guess number one. And then guess number two is Occidental has turned into a momentum stock for retail traders. And that means that they're going to see those opportunities to buy the dip and swing it, and it's going to have a lot of momentum strength to it. So when you see that breakout happening on CL there, you know, I'm looking, if I take a long in an equity today, it's good. Well, long in equities, but in an oil equity, it's going to be Oxy. It's set up for a 59 break. I also have a stink bid in front of 55 in case something crazy happens the other direction, that disconnect works in the other way, then I definitely want to have a 55 there. But all over the fact that this has a nice double top right around this 58.5, 59 that we're sitting in for Oxy. Breakouts haven't been the best. I'd much rather be putting this trade on if we're through 115 in oil. But I guess it hasn't really mattered what oil prices are to Occidental. It was the case for that, and even CVX yesterday. I was short CVX when oil was tanking and just wondering what was going on. So clearly the trade for everybody is to take these to the long side, and you have to almost favor that. It's just difficult to short unless it's already made a parabolic move up.
Look, although yesterday's trade of the day was Oxy, it's a tough one. I just find that it's like it just gets going, and then you got to play the momentum. So that's what I'm going to do on that name today. A name that we've been trading really well the last couple of days was CEI. I mean, we pegged that back-to-back days. We absolutely hit this one, and it was a good trade. So back down to $1 today here, yesterday bounced off that $1 level, and then ripped up to 124 right here in the AM. We'll see where it goes from here, but CEI, I still think needs to be on watch. It's already done 8 million shares. I don't think this is going to be another 700 million day or anything like that. But if we take out this 130 level, I mean, that's a little bit of an area for concern for me here. 130, 133, something like that. If we could take that out, then I think we could test up higher. You can see here in the bottom left, oil is starting to rip again, up 5.2%. So that's a nice move. And then this base down here at 1. I mean, I know this is one of those kind of pump up stocks, and we all want to get rich off this and want to see this move. I don't hold any shares, but you can see that it's basing down here at $1. So I feel like if it gets back into this area, it's unwise to not have a bid somewhere around $1, because the thing is like, even if you hold it to 90 cents, like that's this bottom that I'm not sure we break. So that's 10 cents worth of risk when the upside is clearly like 20 cents. So I think you got at least a 2-to-1. If you can get long around $1.02, $1.03, something like that, I think you have a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 possibility for the long, and then that's the trade. So I think that is what we'll do. As our producer says, I guess he says, don't try, just do. So I don't even know if he is a producer. I don't know what he is. I don't know where he stole that from.
Do or do not. There is no try.
There
Yoda,
we go.
Star Wars, done.
Done. So that's where we're getting that from. But yeah, anyways, I am going to do and not try right now, put an order in, Brendan, for CEI.
Yeah, just seeing Christine Lagarde over in the ECB as well, just saying that they expect inflation to rise further in the near term in Europe. So more to come on the inflation front. Let's bring in Rahim Alani, Managing Director of OCI Groups here in Toronto. We're going to continue the energy discussion here. But first off, talk a little cannabis, because why not? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good to see you. Welcome back, as always.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was a little bit of deal making in the cannabis sector
Right.
going back to last week. I mean, this has taken a huge backseat to obviously everything else that's going on in the world. But worth a mention here, there are still, some decent opportunities to discuss.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the cannabis trade has obviously tailed off a bit. We knew that the Canadian sort of numbers were not really sustainable at where they were. U.S. is still a big place to be looking at. And, we're seeing that with some of these companies coming out with results and deal making. Like you said, there's going to be, we've always sort of believed that there's going to have to be some consolidation in the sector. There were a lot of large companies, a lot of small companies, sort of going to be like the alcohol business where the large would acquire the smalls. And yeah, we saw that last week with the Hexo Tilray deal. We can talk a little bit about that, where there was $200 million of debt, convertible debenture notes that were picked up by Tilray.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow them to convert potentially up to 37% of the company. And the thought process there really for Tilray is you got to keep all ships afloat. And if a company of the size of Hexo fails, well, that's not really a good thing. This also puts Tilray first in line in case anything does happen to Hexo. Then Tilray can come in and pick everything up for being first senior secured. And people like Hexo did deals last year of $1 billion. They acquired a company for $1 billion last year. And if you're able to pick all of that up for not too much money here, it's a good play for Tilray. It's a good play for the sector. And I think we'll continue to see opportunities like that.
Yeah, and continued consolidation.
Yeah, for sure.
With the little ones, especially. Jushi, another one that, an interesting story here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so Jushi, again, that's one of the ones that we're talking about. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the U.S., particularly for multi-state operators. The thing about Jushi with them is, A, they're in multiple states. They're growing, and they're going into places where, the full rec is still yet to come. Like Virginia is, rumored to be on next. Full rec, Jushi's got a big presence there. So if you look at, if you're looking for opportunities, look at some of those guys that have setups in some of these states that are likely to come, have started to come, starting to grow. And so someone like a Jushi is well positioned. And again, the good thing about them was that they have a really strong management team, a lot of executives from different businesses, not just guys that happen to be in cannabis, but guys that have come from investment banking, as an example, or from life sciences and come in and built Jushi up. So that's an interesting play. Volume's picked up on that, and the price is an attractive price.
We've mentioned in depth when Rahim is with us in the past about the size of the energy sector in Canada, along with gold and mining and other things. Our economy heavily based on those two specifically. That means that with this move in oil and energy markets, obviously, lots of companies on this side of the border are going to benefit. We'll give you a few to run through again. Some of these going to be dual listed in some way, shape, or form. Some not so much. Let's talk MEG Energy first.
Yeah, MEG, great numbers they just put out again. They're doing $171 million of debt repayment and going into a normal course issuer bid. That's something that we've talked about the last few times that we've been on, talking about the energy trade. As these companies have gone from where they were last year, putting out their numbers where they are this year, all the names that we're talking about today have put out numbers, will be putting out numbers, and you see the trade that they've put up going from potentially $1 billion in losses in one of these cases to $1 billion gain. That's a big swing. And when you get that, all of a sudden there's cash coming in. Now all of a sudden these companies are going to start doing things like dividends, debt repayments, and you're going to see a lot of that taking place, especially with oil at these numbers. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah, 2008 highs we've obviously talked about this week, but unbelievable. Baytex Energy, another one that's been around forever, obviously.
Baytex, the thing that was interesting is there's a little bit of scuttlebutt that it's getting into some ETFs now, and that there might not be enough stock to satisfy the number of ETFs that are adding Baytex in. That's just something I'd heard, so I thought Baytex might be an interesting one to look at if you start to see, if you're a trader that looks at some of those volatility movements, and if you see what some of these ETFs are doing. So if Baytex is going into some ETFs, that might be another interesting one to look at.
The next one here, a little bit smaller on the market cap, obviously, but a great looking chart. I was going to grab the chart here so we can have a look at it. Vermilion, which is VET.
Yeah.
Pretty decent move here as well with oil.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. That they put up $1.1 billion earnings compared to a loss of $1.5 billion last year. So just imagine you're sitting there and you've lost $1.5 billion. You got to figure out how to survive. And oil swings and all of these catalysts happen. Now all of a sudden you got $1.1 billion of profit. So they're going to reduce long-term debt by $282 million. You're able to wipe out a bunch of this debt, and essentially with the same level of service that you've got, just the price of oil going where it's going, and it's continued to rise. So I think we'll see that going into Q1 results and Q2 as we get into that and how that looks. And again, I think if you want a longer term play, some of these guys are going to continue to pour money back into dividends and share buybacks. So if you take note of those two things, depending on which type of investor you are, you may find some of these names attractive for those purposes.
It's great. Like this thing's doubled, more than doubled since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cardinal.
Yeah, Cardinal's one that we've talked about a few times. If you're on the smaller investor side and you're looking for a nice name, Cardinal's continued to grow. If you look at this name, we talked about 6 months ago. It's doubled again since from there, and money's going to start getting recycled back into the dividends and the share buybacks, and starting getting into new projects because with this type of cash flow, you're going to be able to generate additional dollars that you can now go spend in ground because some of these guys are going to start to lose reserves. And as your decline rates, and we can get into that, it's a discussion for another day, as your decline rates change, you're going to start to need to add more assets. And so we think some of these companies are both going to, A, put money in ground, and also start to look at potential acquisitions there as well.
The volatility obviously not going anywhere when it comes to the price for oil. That means the volatility in these names going to be around for the foreseeable future, but a bit of a pullback yesterday for crude, which means maybe an opportunity here on the dip to have a look at some of these names.
Yep.
So again, a lot of these going to be dual listed in some form. Make sure you take a look at some of those energy plays, guys, on the Canadian side of things. And interesting. We were discussing earlier in the week about this cannabis sector and how it's just kind of fallen off the map. For obvious reasons, but interesting couple of stories coming out of that group this week as well.
Yeah, I think that'll continue. The cannabis trade is it's still young, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're in year 3, really, of the cannabis trade. So I still think you'll see a lot more opportunities. Again, on the deal-making side, there won't be as robust a IPO, RTO, go public sort of landscape that we saw 2.5 years, 3 years ago. There won't be that, but I still do think there's going to be a lot of deal making to be done, and the cream will rise to the crop. The larger players will go. Some of the smaller players, there might be an opportunity to take advantage of being acquired if you are an investor that's looking at that angle.
Always great information. Rahim Alani, Managing Director of OCI Groups here in Toronto. Thanks so much.
Anytime.
Always a good idea, guys, to keep an eye on opportunities in the space that is moving. Obviously, that's going to be energy and oil right now.
Yeah, I see a couple people in the chat actually talking about Canadian their gear making moves. And look, we've talked about energy being big. And sometimes when we show that board at the end of the day, when you watch the closing show of the different markets, you see Toronto holding up on some of those down days a little bit better than the rest. And that's because of the heavy leaning towards not just energy, but also metals, materials, that sort of thing. I'm going to ring a bit of a Reggie here. Welcome back, Fred Van Vliet, by the way. The Raptors needed him. Good night last night. But Asana, I took the short on the consolidation about 36.60. We'll get to the earnings. I got some out in front of the high of the day. I want to reload this position. And someone earlier on, I think it was really early in the chat, was maybe like 8 o'clock or so. Oh, are you in any positions? Anything you're looking at? And I said, well, I came close to trading. I think it was Asana. Or was looking at CEI, I had the 125 level. But on these days, CPI, bears mentioning, most traders, you don't really want to, even if you love something, you kind of want to have that number come out, right? So like 830 comes, because it's enough that it could move the market and blow your levels out. So you want to see, okay, well, after the number, is what I was looking at still valid? And once that's the case, then you can start thinking about getting into position. So, did I like Asana at 36.60 breaking here at 7:30? Yeah, I kind of did. But I also wanted to see what happened after 8:30. At 8:30, you're still able to get the same price. So it's just one of those things where a lot of traders want to stay away from what can be an absolute game-changing event in terms of the overall market and not be in position when it happens. You just want to wait until after 8:30. Number comes out, things are still good. Yeah, then make your trade. Yeah,
and I did want to say a big shout out to Emily One here, who's been part of us for a while. You're welcome, man, for the knowledge and everything. Like, I mean, that's what we're here for. And we want to give a big thank you to all our viewers as well. I mean, you guys throw symbols in here and teach us all the time. And sometimes you even yell at me, why are you going long? Why are you going short, reverse, this and that? There was a good example yesterday with Bumble that we're able to make money. So I want to say thank you to everybody here today. My knowledge and my teaching is just what I do. And I want to thank everybody for supporting the show. And a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Raheem Alani, for stepping through today. So thank you to Raheem. And let's go over to Brendan at the big board with upgrades and downgrades.
Expected names, I guess the best way to put it on here this morning. Hormel Foods at the top. There's CrowdStrike we'll talk about. I noticed Lennar as well, LEN to the downside on a price target cut. There's KB Home. This one we discussed yesterday, also energy related. Asana, Bumble, McDonald's, and Lululemon downside today.
Baby.
Just chatted with Raheem there.
You all remember Raheem's baby. What was his name? Armand. So cute, man, and that's the thing.
And shout
Must
out
get the looks from the wife.
That's cold, man.
I'm a cold person. I'm as cold as ice.
Handsome, well-dressed gentleman over there with, I don't know what's going on.
We love him. Raheem Alani, thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brendan, I missed everything you said, but apparently upgrades and downgrades.
Asana with a downgrade. We had a guest on yesterday, of course, from the Brazilian markets, talking Brazilian markets, and Vale catching an upgrade. Of course, if you don't know, like they are primarily listed in Brazil, and yeah, just another energy name. That's another market that usually gets a bump in these kinds of times, or is relatively strong because of their exposure to the energy markets. But Vale, I mean, no surprises for Asana that they get a downgrade in this particular case. I don't think anyone would be surprised there.
Yeah, I mean, they're making less money and guided less, and you know, you don't want to do that. They don't even have a PE, so I can't even look at it. But yeah, Asana, another name, and then we'll go. We will talk about more names to come, but we called this one name yesterday, so we'll floss it off for you. I don't think our things are working again there, Lucas, because I'm trying to drop the floss. Maybe the money's working. Nah. Anyways, CrowdStrike is the name that I'm trying to get at right now. Up that 12%. We talked about that yesterday. Remember, we went over to Pan W there, Palo Alto, and we talked about how they had beaten. And then yesterday, when it was down here, this is a 20-minute chart, so yesterday when it was down here, I was saying that maybe today we'll see a 200 print on CrowdStrike. Hey, not too bad, man. We got as high as 197 there yesterday off that print, and here's the mark right here. You guys remember, and put it in the chat if you remember, like, you know, get some credibility around here because I have so many bad calls as well. But there's CrowdStrike. We talked about that yesterday. I said they'll probably beat. I mean, it's hard to predict how high they're going to go up, but that's a nice little bump. And I did say, you know, we'll see maybe a 200 today. So if any of you made some options calls on that one, then congratulations. And I don't know what the implied volatility was, so I don't know how much you would have made on it. But a nice move up here. I think, you know, when a company reports well, it does have the chance to fade, so watch out for this. But again, they're in the cybersecurity, so I feel like they're in the right space. There's really no need to hit these guys back down. So we're going to watch CrowdStrike today, and we're just going to see what levels form. And it's going to be that same thing that we always do, where we let the levels form itself and then wait for that base to break. There was some trades yesterday on Bumble, which was up 40%. So CrowdStrike up that nice 12% today, Brendo.
Rivian, guys, I wanted to mention Rivian. We're going to have, make sure everyone comes back this afternoon and joins us before 3 o'clock. Danielle Shea on the show again this afternoon. We'll talk about Rivian a little bit with Danielle Shea, talk some options, ideas going into earnings. I mean, all-time lows? Yes, I believe it was all-time lows yesterday for RIVN ahead of, I mean, what is expected to not be a good report, guys, for RIVN.
Without a difference. Maybe not the all-time lows yesterday, but it was 2 days ago. So it got down to $40, or close enough to it that's a level that will be of some concern. You want to throw even more cold water on Rivian? Like we saw already, Lucid got under pressure, but you want to throw more cold water. Everyone has probably by now heard that what's going on in nickel. Well, guess what they use nickel for? Like it's just another component.
Making little 5-cent things, I think.
That is also true. But another component that EV makers are going to be paying more for and is going to be in higher demand, which is going to make it difficult for production or those that are trying to ramp up production. That those cold water, this is not exclusive to Rivian by any stretch of the imagination or Lucid. That's going to weigh on Ford and GM too. Like you keep hearing them having to pull back and sort of temper their expectations for the growth. And when the reality is, and you get these big valuations, they need to start producing vehicles. It's not about demand. we get it. People want to buy them, and eventually you're going to have a bunch of these things on the road, and who knows who's going to win overall, Tesla. But it's all about can they ramp up production, because you're very expensive stocks, and where is the growth going to come from? When can it start to ramp up? And you have another thing throwing cold water here, the prices of nickel. I'm watching that. Obviously, I'm looking at the Lucid level from yesterday, which is 25.75 for resistance. That's been good 2 days in a row. But a similar one here, 46.3. On Rivian, I get it. There might be some bounces as some people who might have been short might go risk off on this through like a 46.3 level. But that's one level I'm going to look at. You get a support. It broke down, ran away from that price on Monday, and then just found that in a huge market rally, then pulled right back off of that level. So that's the one I'm staring at, 43 quarter, 46 quarter, 46.30, splitting hairs at that point. But that's my resistance on Rivian. I do think they're probably not going to have the best guidance, and it's hard to see with input costs where they are and supply chain issues that they wouldn't be saying that. But it's already been pretty beaten up. 40 is definitely in play.
Yeah, I just wrote down here on the sticky note, Rivian's on here. Reporting tonight should be bad. We'll start to short here near 46. If we can get it, it's only at 40. I mean, these were all done. This is what I said. This was all done before the CPI, so it didn't move Rivian, so nothing should change. 46 and 48, so those same levels here that we're talking about on the sticky note today. And, I think you can even... I mean, we'll see what happens to this market off the open, but you could get a spike to this 45 level, and then we go from there. But the same levels, 48, 46 is right here, so that's a great level to short. That's yesterday's high. And then if you get into some of these areas here, 48 and 50, which I would have no idea why it would go up 10% today, so I don't expect that to happen. And if it does, then the short will be put on a hell of a lot bigger than it will be in here. So we'll wait, but I think 46 could come into play. But now that I see this, I think we'll start this. I mean, I'll even start this at 45. I mean, I don't think Rivian's going to come out with a good report at all. But who knows, man? I mean, they could have supply chain, maybe it's not an issue, but like Neil said, I don't see how that can be possible. And then they also have possibility of missing targets. Remember, the CEO himself is confused about his own business. So we'll wait to see what's happening. They up the price, they lower the price. We'll see what comes out today. Imagine if they come out and say that, hey, by the way, we are upping our price. Like, I don't know. So there's Rivian yesterday, 39.7, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, I guess, 39.96. Yesterday, 42.26. We'll see what the close is today, but we could make an all-time low.
All right, let's bring in Arun and get a look at the overall market here. We'll discuss a little bit about some of these levels for the futures this morning. Obviously, right back to session lows here after, I guess, they kind of shrug off the CPI number, Arun.
Yeah, and this is what you're going to get inside of a range. We talked about this range, and nothing's changed from the levels I've given you guys yesterday. 42.60 going up to 4,300. That's your resistance. That held. Yesterday we were grinding through it, but by the end of the day, we did respect it enough to fall off there. So 42.60 up to 4,300. That's still your resistance level. 41.65 down to 41.25. That's your support. And here we are trading in the middle. And I mentioned this yesterday. Everything in the middle, I'm not going to trade. I'm going to stay away from this market if we're trading inside of those ranges, or if we're not at the edges of those ranges, I won't be trading. Those are the only shots you've got. You either fade the top near that 42.60 into 4,300, or you look for a somewhat of a rotational bottom if you can actually set it up from 41.65 down through 41.25. Now, if they break, there you go. There's a different trade there. There's an actual breakout trade you can make there. But apart from that, I think this market's got a lot of sideways action left in it. It could be a grinding type of situation, but for the most part, if we're going to trade inside this range, it's a wide range, by the way. We saw what happened on the 8th when we were just up and down all day. That was an aggressive move. Yesterday, we saw the exact opposite, somewhat of a concerted effort to buy through, which failed. And now here we are right back in the middle of this range. I think it trade with caution is what I would say, because keep in mind that when you're trading in an environment like this, everything that looks like it's breaking out may just go a little bit further and then fall right back, right? So you do have to be respectful of the ranges that you're trading within, especially in this market. So we're just going to wait this one out, see if this market sets something up, maybe get to those edges and we can make a play. But for now, I think you just got to wait for this market to do something apart from just drifting down.
Stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. It's hard to believe it's already going to be Friday tomorrow morning. This week has flown by. That's the link to the watch list, guys. We'll jump into everything else you need to know heading towards the open here in the next 26 minutes. 26 minutes to the open. Miss V will have that link in the chat for you if you need it. CrowdStrike, #1 today after a very good, I mean, it was more the forecast. I mean, the report was fine, but it was more the forecast that topped estimates here for CRWD, although even CrowdStrike, as I just noticed, starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, they got 30 versus 20 cents, so that's good. Yeah, revenue's 431, which is good there. So, I mean, everything looks good. A year earlier, 13 cents. So they're beating themselves year over year, almost triple from 13 to 30 cents. So yeah, it's a good name for sure. But like we said, though, in today's market, I mean, I like it because it's a cybersecurity name, and everything right now, you know, seems to be leaning towards. I mean, again, it's about this whole Russian thing, and I just don't know. Cyber attacks are not going away, and I just feel like it's not hard for some of these companies to gain market share. And it's just because you go around, you sign up new businesses, nobody wants to get hacked. They do have other products as well, but you could see here, you're still basing out, and why I said 200 yesterday is because, you know, you come right into this area again, back where we were in December. I mean, everything was groovy back in October, November. I mean, the market was at all-time highs. Many stocks were up here to 300. This got cut in half. This is down 50% in 4 months. So, I mean, it was just beat down. And when a beat down name comes with better earnings, I mean, you're going to get that pop. So to me, it was a little bit of an easy play. I mean, not easy. It's never easy to go up 12, 13% here. But again, as I look at their PE, still income minus. So, you know, they still not making any money. But you could see you do get some support down here at 150. As far as the day trade is concerned, obviously I'm nervous. There was some consolidation here at 184. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with this name. It hasn't been a profitable day for me to trade some of these off open, right? It's just, they've been hard to track. You saw Bumble. It was Bumble yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. So you saw Bumble yesterday. Look what's happening today. You're down 3%. They had a monster beat. If this can open up properly to yesterday. So here you go. Here's the move. Up already, and then market opens yesterday, and we rip even higher for Bumble, right? And so that's, you know, that could happen today. Like Bumble yesterday, we were excited about it. It was 21 bucks at open. It ripped to 24. So that was another 10%. So if you say that's CrowdStrike, oh God, now we're back to Rivian. Why does that happen? Okay, CrowdStrike, could it go up another 10%? If it does, then you're through that 200 level. I feel like just because of the day it is, that this 200 is a short, not a long. So we'll try to play in that, using some of these levels as areas to possibly start our short. 196, 198, things like that. And then if you are short, then you can use 200 as you're out. I just feel like good earnings, you know, in names that have been beat down, that still aren't profitable, could be a problem. So CrowdStrike right now, for me, I love the quarter. It's great. I'm a buyer down there near that 150, 160 area. And I think that this quarter alone gives it some support. So that's my talk. I wouldn't buy anything off the open here on Crowd.
One thing I would say is, well, it's a bit surprising that this is true, but CrowdStrike and Bumble have about the same short interest, which is weird. Like, now, Bumble went up 42% with only about 6 or 7% short interest. Crowd having the same thing. They're two very different companies, obviously, but I found that little tidbit interesting. The only thing I'd say about the 200 level is I give it some room. Like, I just look at what's happened back and forth at 200 recently, and if there was a spike up, I might want to see it break that level before I would consider shorting. And I think that what happened for me in Bumble was I like to channel from 24 to 25, and when it stalled right at 24, I was like, oh, that's the short. And then when it got to 25, I missed out on the reversal from that range. And that's what I feel about 200 to 205. Here in CrowdStrike, that it might need to press into this range, maybe get to 02, 3, 4, something like that before it were to reverse. I'm not taking a breakout. I mean, I didn't take it on Bumble. I should have done it yesterday, but I'm kind of treating it a little bit differently at that 200 level. Just a little bit above that could be where the reversal comes in, because it's still so expensive. It's so much easier, you know, when something is expensive and they have bad earnings, you kind of feel, okay, well, I want to go short. If I lose, I lose. I understand what I'm doing. But, you know, CrowdStrike's a bit of a different story. Miss V.
Hey guys, welcome everyone again. I hope you're having a great morning so far, and remind you to smash the like button for a good day. And now let's continue with Brandon.
Yeah, let's continue on, guys. So CrowdStrike good, Asana basically the opposite. Very, very bad here to the downside in a big way off of their report, grinding along this 36.25 level, which could mean something as we get to the open here. But Not good here for ASAN, but I mean, along the lines of what was Sean, you were mentioning here, I mean, crowd could go. Asana, it's the same sort of thing. We're down so much, you know, back to the upside might be the path of least resistance here.
It happens. That's the thing. It happens. And they have a legit short interest. So don't get me wrong. Like, I'm in a short position. I think the stock can and realistically at some point should go lower. It's $300 million in sales when the company is just under, it's $9 billion something or whatever still. And look, there's a million names that got beaten up. I think one thing that doesn't get said enough when we look at these charts of names that have come back, okay, so it's gone from 150 to 40. Like, oh my goodness, look how bad that is. This is in the market where Facebook is down 50% from its top. And we were having, I think one of the things we were saying before we came on air, I was talking with Brendan this morning, is it's like, oh, who's buying these things at the top? I'm like, I don't know who's buying Asana at 130, but you know, like there are plenty of NASDAQ stocks, like NASDAQ, like index, solid companies are thought to be that are down these significant amounts. So you just have to think about what's it worth now. And to me, at 30 times its sales, and then missing with a wider loss, that's just a bad quarter. So, you know, I decided I wanted the short on that rollover and a consolidation break. I took out 1-to-1, and if it takes out this 37, it's about 37.35, 37.40 at the top, I'll just get out of it. And the path of least resistance, you're right, is to the upside, and that's why the stop is going to be in. If it breaks up, fair enough, man. But if it starts heading down, it could easily get priced even lower than this. Like, there's no reason the stock can't eventually be at 25 to 30. Just because it came from 150 doesn't mean that this is too far. You still have to look at what are they actually doing? What is the business doing? It's still losing more than expected, and it's still priced ridiculously, which is a lot of names. And that's just the reality we're in. You got the Fed next week, which, you know, also puts I guess a bit more of a risk premium on holding some of these types of names in either direction. But knowing that squeeze is there, you have to have hard stops when you're shorting. Even if you believe in it, you have to have stops, because 24% short interest when it's down this much, you know what can happen. Not much of a gap fill, and then you're getting destroyed.
Yeah. Again, it's just, right now we're barcoding. I mean, Neil's just talked about all the levels, so there's really not much to talk about here. They've been cut. They're down, what, like 80% or something from some of their highs. 145. Again, like everything was a jam. To have that crystal ball back in November, I wouldn't even be sitting here. You know, if we knew that these kind of falls were happening. You know, imagine getting an option for just 6 months down the road for like Asana 30s or something. It probably would have cost you a penny. But anyways, now look where we are. So we're back into here. There are some lower levels, 30 and change. Again, you're not making money and you're guiding lower. It's not going to be a good sign here. You can see them down 26%, just horrible. And you know, the software companies, this is just, it's just not great. You're barcoding now, which I think has something to do with the short interest. Once that does break and they're like, hey man, they're not going to defend this, then yeah, it's like, look out below. Here it comes literally right now, starting to crack as it's 9:12 here. So, you know, the market's starting to, you know, wake up a little bit, get ready. They're absorbing the CPI number. Look at the NASDAQ right here, doing absolutely nothing as well, up and down. We went long, and then we never went short, then we went longer again and then got out. So we're actually negative on the Qs right now, but I was not expecting this kind of barcode action. This to me is not that great. Like, I feel like it's going to fall from here. We're at the pre-market lows right now and bouncing around. So look, if the market falls, if the NASDAQ falls, then I don't see how Asana can't just continue to go to the downside here. It's a nice win. Neil's got this short. It's a good one. It keeps on going downside. I think that we'll wait for I mean, I don't know if we'll get any better prices. So we'll watch this. Any pops, you fade it. This one should be an easy one, but hey, crazier things have happened. Did you even get what the short percentage was on that?
24.
24. Is that from FinViz or from?
That's from FinViz. So
okay,
it might be...
so we'll see what I was going to say. I don't know if Brendan has something different, but this name just continues to get beat up, you know, and watch out for the bottoms. I mean, $30 is honestly, I don't think it hits 30 today, but that could be where it stops.
Yeah, it was similar. The one I have, I think it was 18 or something for Asana on the platform here. But yeah, crazy moves. Room as well. Tons of room still to the downside for ASAN. INDO. Dominic, you were asking about this INDO. Here's the headline. It was out earlier. I mean, they've mobilized drilling rigs to commence drilling. Sure. 1.5 million share float for INDO. So heads up on INDO. But wanted to mention oil in general here, coming back to the downside a little bit as along with the overall market, guys. So Energy, crazy yesterday. We got a nice little pop there to the upside. Anyway, thanks, guys. Pop to the upside here for oil on the CPI number, but here we are right back to session lows. So the wild swings continuing here, guys, for some of these oil stocks.
Yeah, and wild swings to say the least. So, like, I have a stink bid on Oxy. I think we sort of already covered this a little bit for Oxy myself, but 55. I'm just looking at what was. When you have these big liquidity vacuums, I mean, look at this 59 level, 59, bang, bang, and then yesterday it just comes right back into 55. A couple of days ago, the afternoon resistance was 55. So if I'm going to pick a spot that maybe you can catch a quick little turn, if there's a spike down at the open, I'm thinking 55 level is going to make a little bit of sense. But yeah, obviously, volatility is the name of the game here. I much prefer the whipsaw dip buy than the breakout style trade. It just always feels on something that you're bullish on, it feels a little bit safer. Like the risk to reward is a little bit more defined here. Like maybe you give it a few shekels below 55 and you're risking about $1, and then you're trying to capture halfway is 2, and then maybe all the way into that 59. But I don't think I'll be fighting Oxy. If I try to find any shorts in oil, it's going to be Chevron, even $5 levels. I want to see consolidation on oil futures at highs or shelves that break. And then I want to play an even level on CVX. That's been a scalp trade that worked every day, and then I decided I want to do something different yesterday, and it didn't work. So I just tried shorting the momentum play in this, when if you just waited for it to get to that even, which was 170 again, I probably would have been out of view up anyways. I'm not going to hold it the whole way, but it's a trade that's worked like 5 or 6 days in a row, and then I decided to do something different, which is not usually a good way to approach things. So if I short something in the equity side, it'll be Chevron, but I want to see that. I want to see both a level off in the futures and one of those 165s, 150, 170, those types of levels on CVX. Generally, there's even size there supporting it or supporting that kind of a trade.
Yeah, so for me, yeah, I think that's great. Oxy's great levels. Well, we will look at that. I mean, I can tell the momentum in that name was ridiculous yesterday. So I think it'll be there today. I'll put my little Sorry Miss Jackson rant here if you want to hear a tune. Check it out. It's getting a lot of likes here, 80 likes already. This is me this morning acting like a fool there on Twitter, trying to spread the good word of Trader TV Live. $1 down here. I think, that's a key level. And I know this CEI is not going to move with oil, okay? I mean, this is just a momentum play. You get everybody on the name and then it pops. Tons of volume the last couple of days, much lighter today, only 12 million, but still not worth ignoring. It's trading like it's open now. Lots of volume going through. I still like a short if we could get into this like 140, 150 area up here. Probably, let me just throw out like 200, 300 shares. Okay, so you need to offer it out. So, if you did need to pay for shorts, you need to do that on CEI. We don't have the shorts from our broker, so I'm going to go do that right now. But 150 I think is a good one. But to me, I've already tweeted this one out as well, and I added it to the sticky note today. So this is basically it, man. I just tweeted this out a couple minutes ago, by about a half hour ago, and I added it to the sticky note, and it was just CEI. I mean, look at this level here. We circled it. It's $1. It's right down here. So I'm bidding $1.06 again. We did that the last day, and if I can find it on the 1 minute, here it is. Let me just zoom this back out a little bit here. Will my trades be on here? No, they're not. But we hit this dollar right down here. Look at this level. So we hit the long. This was a big trade for me when it went up to $2. We hit this in the pre-market on tons of volume, and then we let it fade out. And you guys remember this around noon? It based out at 105, 106 there, and then it started to rip back to the upside. So we actually had this long. We'll see if we can repeat that again here today. Sure, you're up at 120, but look at this bottom yesterday, 102, 103. So we'll see if we can get a 106 bid. I've asked to put up again, so we're going to show this one more time because I was chilling with Raheem. Both Neil and I missed this upgrade and downgrade. So I just want to check this out quickly. So McDonald's there on the downgrade. We talked about that yesterday with Russia. Bumba, there's a sauna there as well. Hormel, so we're going back into the food. There's CrowdStrike and Vale. Okay, so I just wanted to see what was on there. McDonald's is an interesting name. I think it's at levels that you can buy that. But again, like if they start pulling out, we saw it was 50 million a month or so. I guess net was 50 million a month. We had that discussion yesterday, that it wasn't sales, it was net. So they're gonna miss that, and I don't think that that's a huge number. I just worry about some of the damage that's been done to the brand because there was some. Here's McDonald's here. There was some pushback about them not exiting earlier, but I mean, all the corporations. We're just seeing Goldman right now, the first Wall Street bank to exit.
There's no right way to do these things. Like it's kind of unfair because it's not. this is not something anybody expects to happen, and every company is entirely different, right? Like, they've got employees there. It's a big deal in Russia. They've got a lot of employees there. Anyways, I just feel they're probably beating up too much.
This is what I don't understand why we hurt the people because of this. But again, not that McDonald's is food for the people, but it is. And like you said, it's cheaper food. It's obviously probably in great locations that, I mean, imagine like my kids, you know, they love the Happy Meals and stuff like that. Like, I can't imagine. And again, I don't know. I don't know anything about, I mean, I've been to Russia once with Day Trade the World, but I just can't imagine that things are going well there. But hey, it is what it is, and it's just, like, I'm sad about everything because it's unfortunate what's happening, and I can't believe McDonald's is making me feel like all emotional. But down here, anyways, I think as a buy, I just feel for the people, but hopefully we'll get through it. Right down here, 210, I think, for McDonald's. I mean, if that's not a buy, like, I'm already waiting here, so I want to take this into long-term portfolio. I'm already long McDonald's. I started buying this thing a hell of a long time ago. Again, just a dividend, consistent grower, a nice name. I like McDonald's down here near $2.
Let's go to Tesla here, guys, quickly. Downside today slightly anyways, 1% here for Tesla in the pre-market. Pretty good couple of days anyways, back higher along with the overall market yesterday. They come out this morning with a bunch of price including US-made Model Ys, some Chinese-made models as well, getting a price hike. Not huge ones, but yeah, worth a note here. Back below, anyways, $850 for Tesla.
Oh, that 850 number over and over. By the way, Asana's making a bit of a move. It takes out the top. I'm not going to be stubborn about it. I'm just going to get out. Hands are off the keyboard if it breaks that break. There it goes. So when it's 24 or 18% short interest, whichever one you want to call it on Asana, if it starts to go, it doesn't matter how much you like it. Just going to get out. I just do not want to be caught, especially at this time of day. If there's another trade to be had, I'll wait till the open, 9:30, when things settle down a bit. So in and out of Asana just there as it took out that high. Tesla, okay, 850, good level. I know we've kind of been thinking 860, 865 was the more important top, but we talked about nickel issues and affecting all the EV makers. But Tesla raising prices, I don't actually think that's much of a deal for them because the demand is definitely going to be there. If there's anybody in the space that can weather that, at this point, it's definitely Tesla. So, I don't think that's as big of a drag. The bigger deal is what the market's going to do today and what the Fed is going to do and that pacing. Because as much as everybody believes, or most people believe, that Tesla's going to be the winner, and I do, it's still seen as a relatively expensive stock. And then that does weigh on every single up move. And I think even in yesterday's rally, if you were watching at the end of the day, and hopefully you're watching our afternoon show, the market continued to make highs, and Tesla was just sitting there trying to break, and it just could not go anywhere. And to me, that just suggests that there were profit takers selling shares. It's like, oh, you're going to give me this? Take it, in front of the CPI number, in front of the Fed next week. So I kind of feel like the same thing could happen. You get back to that 860 to 865 level. I'm not sure. I don't feel that 850 is a bit of a trap because it just seems so obvious. But how clean has that really been? There was 2 days ago, it was absolutely perfect. And then if you traded it at 8:30 in the morning, way too early, that was a good level. But after that, it got blown out at the open and then went another $10 higher and then turned into support. So, I think maybe that's a better level for the pre-market if you happen to be trading it. Once it opens up, 865 is your resistance that I'm looking at, and 815, 820 or so is where I'd be parking some bids if you wanted to get the long. I like the short in Lucid and Rivian today. Lucid because it's been good this week, and Rivian because they have earnings. That's why I'll be trading them. But Tesla, 850 feels like a bit of a trap.
Bottom of the board here. We'll touch on Rivian, throughout the day, guys, but just be aware that earnings aftermarket tonight, not going to be good. Obviously holding higher here in the pre-market, up 1%, 44 level yesterday, both directions on the resistance and support side of things. Let's touch on maybe, Neil, quick thought on some of these crazy oil stocks, small cap oil stocks.
Well, I think you already came with the Indo news, right? So INDO there. Look, I think they had like another drilling that got opened up or something along those lines. And they're the one that's actually up the most. So I'll start with them, up 28%. Really, I was looking I like HUSA today, that's for sure, and I'll get to that in a quick second, but Indo feels like it could be a bit of a fade if it gets anywhere 45 to 50 into that channel. And I just sort of look at what happened when it rejected 80 a couple of times, came right back into 50, and then that's where the lower high support made. So when it capitulated, that's a level it couldn't break. When it broke to 80, that's the level it broke, and it's right in that low 50. So I think if it presses into there, it has some trouble. HUSA's the one that, when I sat down, looked at least the most juicy to me, and I'm looking at this 950, 10 area. If that gets taken out, it's got room to 11, 1150. Obviously, you can also see the double bottom that got put in the last couple of days here at 550 or so. So there's a couple of good levels to play on HUSA as it tries to move. And I get it, there's like a million of these out there, but I just look at this as probably a little bit more room to go if it takes out that 950 level before it runs into overhead resistance on a percentage base. I get it, like Indo can make the break at like 46, 47, and it goes like $2 or $3 for you. And even if it stalls out at 51, 52, that's a good return. I just think it's more to capture there on HUSA from 950 to potentially like $10.5, $11. So that's why I was looking at that level. Just a little bit more room if it makes the break. And if it does a fail here, like it can't get past 10, there's so much room to support that I think even coming back in on the downside, HUSA could be the better one to trade. So I happen to be watching this one. You already mentioned Camber at $1 and $1.50. I think $1.47 technically is what it got to. So that definitely looks like that resistance level. But there's also this 125 from yesterday. It put in a double top at 125. So it is a bit set up for that level to be interesting. It's at 120 this morning, as we speak, with 5 minutes to go. So you have a chance that you could get a 125 break right at 9:30. You could also get one of those fail breaks that I like to try to jump into the short and risk a couple of pennies on. So I'm looking at that 125 as well. I mean, $1 for sure in both directions, I think it's worth a play. Even if it breaks down, I think I'd take that trade. It's an in and out style trade. Get 99s, get out 95s, that kind of a thing. Get it all out at 90. That's a bit of a different setup for a day trader. But 125, I think, can be a good momentum level because we're right here right now, and it's yesterday's high.
The market be ripping right now a little bit. We'll see. It's not. I mean, I say that, but it's not really getting out of its own way right here. Just to let you guys know, I've had an order in here the whole time to break this bottom for the Qs. So if the market does go back down to the south side here in the next 3 minutes or so, we will get short this Qs trade. So that is the NASDAQ bouncing off these bottoms. If it takes that out, then we will go short 329.50, and we'll hold it back here probably about a buck or so here to the bottom. So we'll see if that can happen. Taking out that bottom is what we're looking for. And just, we're going to go to Brendan in a second. I just want to talk about it because I just canceled a Rivian offer. We could have got filled, man. I was literally waiting at 44.80. I canceled it like a couple seconds ago, and you know, it looks like it's coming back in, but it's just with this market momentum, I feel like, you know, possibly we can get Rivian a little bit better, and then I can put on some more shares if we get up here. But, you know, now that I'm looking at this, I put my offer back at 45.50, right in the middle here, but I really think like this 45, I should just put something there and sit there for a minute. So we'll do that. If it runs us over, that's fine. We do have our levels for Rivian. They're on the sticky note. We'll see if we can respect them. But right now, we got to go over to Brendan at the big screen with name he's looking at.
A former crazy runner, Longeveron, back to life. If you remember, this was December of 2 years ago, or I guess it was a year ago. Yeah, big move up to $45. I can't believe this thing still went to $45, all the way back down. 8.5. If you go to the daily chart, is the top end of the daily range. So we're bouncing off the top end of the daily range on LGVN. Teeny tiny little float on this one as well. So be careful if you are going to be on the short side. If it gets above 850, I mean, sky's the limit for LGVN, guys.
Yes, and another one that I think bears mentioning, I know a few people have mentioned in the chat, and I'm looking at it too, and that's Plug Power. They don't report till aftermarket, but look at the daily chart. Like, look at this 26 level on the daily. You can also have a quick look at this. It tried to go yesterday, but if you look at this on the 15-minute as well, like multiple times it's been trying to make this break, even if it just gets to yesterday's high. Like, it's not really that bad. We're close enough to the open. I might try to get a little something here, but just to go risk to reward from the pre-market lows. But if this can get going, it's got a large short interest. They're reporting sometimes it's a bit of a risk off for short traders, and sometimes you get a little bit of a squeeze type play. But yeah, it's on my radar. I know a lot of people are watching it. Oh my goodness, Rivian.
Oh
no.
Did you cancel it too, or you didn't get short?
Oh, whatever, man. I didn't put my order in yet. Whatever.
Mine was in there.
I
That's
just
the
got
worst part.
plugged. Yeah, look at Rivian, it just pushed $1 to the downside. So that one's starting to go. Maybe Lucid hasn't gone yet, but less than a minute now. I just got into plug power, but I'm looking at Lucid here. What the heck happened to Lucid there? Anyways, yeah, Lucid actually tanked the dollar already. I'm on the offer above 25, like 25.50s. I might tighten this one up and start offering Lucid a little bit closer to where it is. Miss V is going to be on the bell as I do that. The market, I mean, the market bounced a little bit there, but wow, what a move down there by Rivian just now, and Lucid as well moving. Miss V's got the North Carolina baby blue, which could be good luck. Of course, it is also going to be March Madness, so it's definitely good timing. Careful with that twirling of the baton there. We know what can possibly happen, so be careful with that, Miss V. It is Thursday. We got CPI. We got the market moving. We got some earnings for you. Miss V on the bell in 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. Well, that was like a Randy ring.
Okay, so we're watching Rivian right now. It's open and, of course, going to the downside, and that's just embarrassing because I just talked about canceling that order, which is really crazy right there as Rivian just continues to go to the downside. You're seeing Microsoft taking off right now. We were hoping to get a bid down here, but it's up to 284 right now, and like, hold my beer on that move as the NASDAQ is starting to go back up to the upside. The ones we wanted long was CrowdStrike. So let's have a quick look at what that's doing. We're into nothing right now, 191. We can see if this name wants to go. CrowdStrike still has this top right here, 195. So we take out 195. I think that's a push long for CrowdStrike now.
Yeah, and of course, I watched Rivian 43s. I thought maybe I had a chance to get into Lucid there, and look what it did. Like, I tightened up my offer, and it just dropped off 25.
Rivian's at 43.
These things are just, both of them are gone at this point. It's just a little bit frustrating, right? Like, both those names are just tanking. Plug's basically flat. It went about 25 cents in the money. I could have gotten the first quarter. If it goes there again, I'm going to try it. Oxy testing to the downside a little bit here. So, you know, I want to make sure that if it breaks that shelf at 457, 55 is a level that I definitely like there. And don't want to get too far away from Asana. I talked about waiting for it to come back open and then make a play. You never want to get caught offside. Like, this is what happens on a 24% short interest. Do I think the stock should be way lower? Yeah, I absolutely do. But that doesn't mean as a day trader that you just short it into oblivion or hold on forever. Like, with a short interest like that, the risk is definitely a ton. And then CrowdStrike there. Whoops, that's the wrong spelling. CrowdStrike off the open, not doing a heck of a lot. So it hasn't broken the range. We'll let that one settle down. Thankfully, we got plug power in there. That one now breaks through the quarter. So I did take the quarters this time to get a little bit out. And to me, this is about the short interest. This is about the fact that it's reporting, and maybe some people want to be risk off. Next offer will be out in front of 26.50. And then from there, let's just see what it can do.
Okay, so yesterday we looked at, we'll test a little bit of a long here on AMD as the market's screaming to the downside. So, oops, that's a one-day chart here. Let's go here. There's AMD. It's like a gap down here off the open. I mean, the market is screaming down right now. There we are. We're shorting the NASDAQ right now. So look at Rivian, man. Rivian's $42. The NASDAQ's screaming to the downside. So this is probably one that we're going to have to watch. We are short the NASDAQ and long AMD. That doesn't make any sense. So let's get out of some AMD here and then just watch the NASDAQ fall down. I can't believe Rivian's at 42.50.
Yeah, pretty much. When the market does this, it's like, I'm in a long right now. Like, it's whatever. Like, plug power, it just hit 26.45, so I did take another leg out there. But I'm now looking at what I can find that I still like to the short side. I obviously didn't get plug. We didn't get Rivian either. And I'm staring at you, Affirm, because I was just go back to that. Well, it's still in a decent range. It's made a new high at 37, which is what I did like when I sat down. If I can have to use 36.50, but I noticed that it's not moving downside. Like, it's not really flushing. You're actually seeing the opposite. And by the way, Oxy got real close there for the break. Now, that was weird. It got real close to 59 for that break. I still like the dip buy, but if it's going to make the breakout play, that was the other trade we liked. I get it. The breakouts haven't been as good, but at least with this name, it's had all the momentum in the world. So I will take a shot at this 59 break. I still like the 55 dip buy, but if it wants to try to go, it's after the open, so a bit safer to make that play now that we don't have to worry about pre-market and, you know, the lack of liquidity therein.
Okay, so we did get out of a little bit of the NASDAQ, but now it's starting to rip to the high side here. And this is what happens in the morning, right? It's just back and forth. You know, we're going to try to hold out on everything if we can and just wait to see where we want to go with this. Well, I mean, really I should just focus on Rivian right now. Okay, so the NASDAQ, let's just have a look. It's back up to VWAP right here, 331, a possible fade if you were trying to keep into the short. But I have a better idea right now. We'll still hold on. Thank you, Ms. V. We will hold on to this. 285 here on Microsoft. Microsoft got really excited and wanted to go, but you do have that 282 bottom there looking at for Softy. So we'll see if we can pick something up there. But I don't mind a 285 break if it does want to take out that top. So that's something that I want to look at there. 285 break on Microsoft, something to go long if it does take it. But right now the Qs, we did go short. 50, got out some at 14 there, 20, sorry. So it was 30 cents, but now we're holding this 80 cents against us as we're not quite sure what the market wants to do as it's just dancing here. So we'll, you know, if it takes out highs, we'll get out. But for right now, I think the best thing to do is just hold on to our positions and watch, you know, watch out for the next play because things are just bouncing. Oil only flat as well, man, up 3.9%, basically where it's been all morning.
It's just one of those, man. I see JD.com making a move as well, and that was when I liked shorting much higher. It was up at $60. I wanted it. But HUSA is at that 950 level, or at least close enough to it to warrant some concern here. I'm still just holding on to plug. I want to see if it can make a run. It hasn't broken that 26.5 yet, or hasn't really gone too much past it. But I want to see if it can make a run to 27. But HUSA, this was one that was gearing up for that break. So we're going to see if we can get it here. There it goes. So it just went through 50s. With this stock, like I said, if it gets through 10, it's got room to 11. We'll see what can happen here. If it can consolidate, maybe I want to add to the position. But this is one of those just play the momentum plays. And maybe INDO is going too. I actually haven't even double checked. Maybe INDO is also going, but I just liked HUSA on the setup a little bit better. Or was that Brennan?
I don't think so, no. So right now, I'm trying to find some names to get into, man. AMD, we should have gone that. We should have pushed that short there. It's at it's at 108. It's at the same levels. So as I said, man, like we went long AMD, took like a 13-cent hit or something, and then now we're still sitting in that Q's position. Look at the NASDAQ, man. I mean, I'm sorry, I just can't find anything. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson, that was pretty good. We'll wait to see here. I am bidding lower on the Q's. We'll see if it breaks here. I feel like that's the right play here, so we'll see on a short. I feel like that's the right move. So if Microsoft can get back down to that 282, maybe we'll look at that. Brendan got a name?
Another earnings name, guys. Marqeta reported in the aftermarket yesterday. Gap down from these levels, obviously, but big flush off the open there down to 1050. Right back up on huge volume for MQ trying to go higher.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Alibaba getting crushed. JD was on the watch list, by the way. It's not like, it's just look what it had already done. Like, I liked JD for the short, but it wasn't at any prices that, you know, that I could really dig into. Like 55 break happened well before the open, like 10, 15 minutes before the open. I know it's starting to spike here. I might look at the fact that it bounced off 50 and think it can continue. I'd short 55 if it wants to give me that chance. I definitely got greedy on HUSA as I wanted to see it get to that $10 range before I took anything off. So I didn't take 980s. I should have done that. If it gets back up there, I will do that again. At this point, Rivian is like gonzo.
I want to
42, so maybe 40 is going to come into play, and that's a level that we can start thinking about. But if it pops back up, maybe there's something we can do for the short side of it. Remember CEI? Yeah, it's at that $1.25 level, $1.25. That was yesterday's high as well. I said I played in both directions, so I'm going to just pop on the offer here. It's going to give you 23, so you're risking a couple of bucks, sorry, a couple of cents plus slippage. So maybe 3 cents worth of risk. I don't think you slip more than 1 penny. It's so liquid. But I'm on the offer here. If it breaks 125, it can be a solid breakout. The volume is going to be through the roof, so pretty safe stock to trade.
Oh, man. All right, let's check out Facebook. I mean, we're still holding the Qs, man. It's like bouncing around. It's unbelievable that this thing won't go down. We're in the money on this. Oh, we just took a piece out for flat at 50 there because I was like, I don't know what's happening. I'm holding the short. I'm still in 60% of this as we go 20%, 20%, but I don't know. And then I almost, well, first of all, let me talk about Microsoft quickly because I just canceled the bid because I was decided to hold the short. It's down here at 282. I'm going to watch out for that. I would much rather, now that I look at this, yesterday we hit the long at 281 here on Softy, so I think that that's a better play for right now. It bottomed out yesterday at 280. 70. So, you know, if the market's going to head lower now, why can't we test that 281 one more time? So I really like the long. It's just I'm in the short right now for the NASDAQ. So I can't push a Microsoft long because then I'm going against myself, which is why we got out of the AMD long. So I'm going to hold this. My next bid on this, man, I don't even have a bid. It's down at actually that's a lie. It's at 328.80 there down. So I just thought that we could retest that bottom if we break through 329. And I know the Qs has nothing to do with like technical levels. It's just going to go with the market. So it's not like if you say, oh, I'm going to bid in front of 329. That's not going to matter, right? These are going to follow the NQs. So this is just a equity version of the, I mean, equity, it trades like an equity version of the NASDAQ 100. So it is an ETF, obviously. Okay, so NIO, so it's a big trade for me, by the way, right now as we hold on to it. So I'm really happy with that. NIO right now, the other couple days we went short 18. Remember yesterday when this thing was up, Randy sent it to us. Volkswagen was up 10%. I was like, well, whatever. Who cares about Volkswagen? I mean, Volkswagen is a great name, probably much better than NIO as an investment. But you know, today that was up 13% today. Yesterday, down 8% today. NIO continuing to make those moves. And the reason why I bring up 18 is maybe that's a level here. We bounced off 18 a couple days ago. So if this market does rebound, there's the 18. A lot of consolidation down here near 18. So if NIO does continue to fall, that might be a level to look at.
Yeah, and CrowdStrike, by the way, that tried to spike. You didn't get anywhere close to 120 or sorry, 120, 200 or any of those levels. But it's now back at 183. So maybe it comes into play back down in the 70s. I mean, we'll see if that can happen here. Look, obviously, a lot of these names didn't get to the prices that we wanted to. I'm looking at Oxy again. Like the whipsaw action's pretty crazy. But off of 59, if it puts in a lower high, I think the breakout can still be in play. But look at the rejection of that 59 level. I'm not sure. If it was yesterday, I would have shorted that level. But after what happened, I just didn't want to do it. I definitely should have taken the profit on Who's. I'll do this to myself for not just getting at least something out in front of that $10 level. I should have taken it. I didn't. We ended up getting stopped out at 925 for the hit. Plug is what we have on. I wish I had a short, but you saw what happened to Rivian and Lucid. No chance to get in. Plug is still churning higher. At this point, it's just a hold situation for me. I just think if we can take out 27 in front of earnings with that short interest, look at the room you got till 30 even. It might even be a situation where there's a pullback that we can buy the dip on this name. But Brendan, you got anything?
Peloton guys out this morning talking about different pricing for some of their products. So this thing was down in the pre-market as well. Just saw more sellers coming in, pushing it back towards 2250, which came into play a couple of days ago for Peloton.
Man, I can't win for losing here, as they say. Like, the Qs goes all the way down, I don't take it, and then now it's all the way back up. And like, how choppy is this? That's why you're only seeing me in AMD long and Q short right now, but at much different price levels. It's not like I took them at the same time. But I don't know. Right now, it's just very, very bumpy, and I'm not really seeing too much. What are you guys doing here? What's up, Alan Adkins? Scalping ASTS long. Okay, that's good. 36 fills. All right, this is my kind of game. ASTS. You got me on this one. Oh, $9. Okay, isn't this one of those?
No, this was the
astronaut, not space.
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
They got the contract. It was
astronaut.
Yeah, it's from yesterday.
Yeah, these are all the astronaut. ASTS, astronaut, right? So there we go up to the upside right here. Let's see where it's going. I don't know how you got 36 fills in this, but okay. Nice little 860 bottom to the upside. Now, I guess if I zoom in, you can see pretty liquid name, up 825,000 shares. Good call on that one, but for me right now, not really at any key levels. We're holding AMD long and Qs short.
Brendan?
No.
Okay, well.
Hey guys, Russia just saying they're going to temporarily suspend fertilizer exports. So I did see a spike there in Mosaic, some of the other fertilizer makers and fertilizer component makers moving a little bit on that news. Back to the downside here for MOS though.
All right.
So speaking of downside, I'm not saying it's going to the downside. We talked about allowing the stock to open up, and shout out to anyone that mentioned. I think I saw someone in the chat talking about Asana double top there. It's not 40, but it's close enough to it. It got to this 39 level. On your 15, you can kind of see like the gap fill that could be in play for this kind of a name. I'm going to be on the offer one more time. I just feel if the market goes down, it's now tried to put its squeeze in instead of averaging in or just getting stubborn with it, allow it to make a bit of a top and then start working off of that level. That currently is 39 instead of 40, but if we test back up there again, then I want to get short in Asana. It won't be the first time. We had it in the pre-market, but with that short interest, you've got to be very careful. You talked about that ASTS. I'm looking at that as well. I didn't see as much liquidity as I would have liked in it, but want to come back over to Rivian. Oddly enough, 42 has just been, I mean, like it's holding. There's no size down here in the bid at 42, but it's now broken twice and gotten to 95 and managed to hold a bid. So it might set up for risk reward just to put in like a 42.05, 42.10 bid, risk 15, 20 cents, because the risk reward is pretty solid. If it pops back up to 43, maybe there's a short in there, but somebody's buying it up here. Buying it down here and trying to hold these levels. So I'll take a shot with a, I guess, low risk level. If it breaks the bottom, I'm not trying to hold on to it. I still like the opportunity to maybe get into this thing at some point to the short side, but as long as it wants to do this, I'll take one shot here in front of I'll give it like 5 pennies below that current low, which is 41.95. So give it to like 41.90 or so, but not much past that. Like you just can't. Like you can't fight this stock too far. And Lucid, I still like to the short side. Of course, as I say, it like immediately breaks, but that's kind of what I was looking for. If it's going to play this range, can you get 30 to 40 pennies out of it on a risk to reward? Because shorting it down here, I just don't love it. I like to short up higher, and as I go back over to Lucid, it's at least giving me an opportunity to play this short off of a bounce. Play it off of this 25 level instead of having to short the absolute bottom. If the market wants to try to head back to the upside, you're not trapped at the lows. I've got a level that I can work off of at least.
LGVN, so Longeveron here, as all my positions are just like doing nothing right now. So maybe let's look at something that might move. Longeveron, you might want to look at this 850 level. It just made a nice move down. You're still up that 14%. We did touch 890 though off open. So watch 880 off the open. So that could go. Looking at a daily chart, we already know about this name. We talked a little bit about this in the pre-market as they report later on today. But to me, it's up 14% on nothing. So we'll see if it takes out that 880, then you might have a trade there on Longeveron coming through on that name. I'm still looking for more, man. I mean, I don't mind going on crowd. The spread was a little big on this name early, so now it's trying to come back in a little bit, only 40 cents. We'll see. If it takes this period out, 188, then I think we can go long here on CrowdStrike, 188. We're nicely in the money now, 50 cents. We've taken it out twice on AMD. Let's see if it wants to rock and roll. We've been getting out of this Qs. I mean, it broke it. I'm just holding a small piece just to watch. But I mean, I have the NASDAQ right here. I just feel like if it does fall, it's a little bit of a hedge against the AMD trade, but we have way more shares on AM. We have 4 times the shares on AMD than we do on the Qs. So that's just an update on that one. And then just to check back, I don't know, Neil mentioned CI was going to the upside. Now it's come right back in. It was 123.
I was on the offer at 23, just never got through.
Yeah, darn. Yeah, I'm waiting for 1.
Should have just hit the whatever.
That's the problem. 106, 107 was the area of concern for me here on CEI. And then that's about it, man. I mean, JD reported. There it is, $51. I don't even know what this was at in the pre-market, but I will know in a minute.
Trust me, in a second you're going to be like, what?
Yeah, I see it's down 8% or something, 18%, sorry. There's the move down. That's the daily chart. Yeah, obviously it just fell down too. Yeah, 55 down to 51.
Mount Heritage.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
A lot of these names just getting cracked.
And speaking of one of those getting cracked, and look, Frank Jones, short that 42. I've said before, sometimes you got to be able to short at the bottom when a stock is weak. I didn't do it on Rivian. I just liked Lucid off of 25. It's like I so much prefer shorting off of a level as opposed to those breakdown trades. You just got to do what you feel more comfortable with, but that's now heading back to the lows. I'm going to hold this because if this happens, and by this, I mean the NASDAQ sort of breaking this 13.5 shelf from yesterday, you want something to the short side. You got to have it. So hopefully this will be Lucid breaking the lows. If that goes, Brendan has something for us.
Some of the payment names have been very active all week long. AXP had a nice bounce yesterday with the overall market, trying to get back into this range. Very light volume here, guys, but they said they're going to raise their quarterly dividend once again for American Express.
Yeah, another 20%. That's why we like American Express, man. I mean, a great dividend player right now. We're going to roll the dice now and go short on something that probably will want to go down if the market does tank, and that's going to be Facebook. Okay, so we do have this 195.50 area. I'm just going to see. Again, like this. Well, actually, you know what? We can hold this to 196. Let's just see if 196 plays nice with us. We did go up and down here on the CPI number, back up to 196 and change there, but I think this is a good level. I mean, there it is. We're already in the money, 30 cents here on Facebook. So, I mean, maybe we got a good one where it has That's VWAP right there, so I think it's prudent to take something out there near VWAP. So let's put a bid at that 50 level, which is right where that is. We'll see if we can zoom in a little bit there. We'll take 50 cents. I mean, we're short at 85, it's only be 30 cents, but it's bounced off there a couple times. That's fine. We'll take a little bit. Like I said, the market's super choppy. We're already short the NASDAQ. If we can get a bid down here, we'll take that on Facebook. Just that 50, right? That's that, and then we'll hold. We're getting at, I'm going to take out a half. I know that sounds crazy, but if it can get that, we'll get that for 40 cents, and then we'll see if we test lower. I mean, the NASDAQ's dancing, so I don't really, have an opinion here on this yet. Obviously, if we take out this bottom, that's really what I was looking for in the beginning. That's why we shorted the Qs, and now look, you see it just pops right back up there. Like, what is going on here with these markets? So I don't feel like they even know. Putin's talking or was talking. Now he's talking fertilizer. I don't know what's going on here. But if he starts saying anything negative, which I'm sure he will if he hasn't already, then this market turns. But I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, people could take his comments as positive, and then the market rips up. So I don't really know. I hate being this headline dependent, but hey, we trade the right names.
Exactly. And someone just said, "Why is the firm holding up?" I'm like, I'm not sure either. It had some relative strength yesterday, and I just not seen the weakness out of it. So I'm not even in the short here. I got to reload on plug because that's been making sense for me. And like I said, I'll hold a Rivian short because that's something we wanted. That's something that's held the levels we liked, and that's something that's making some sense in there. And CrowdStrike is another name that I think we can try to go back to. It's now popped up. It's gotten back to this 190. Maybe it doesn't get to 200. But much like Lucid, like if you liked it for the short side, if it's going to try to break these highs and fail, here's a bit of a curl happening at 190. I say all this, I always say this, like you just get in. You see that wick off candle at like 191, and it consolidates at 190. It's like, okay, well, I want the short at 190. Get into it first, Neil. So take this consolidation short, and this is not to say that I'm holding it all the way to 194. No, I think there's maybe a couple of trades that can get put on here. You also have this the move off the open. It did it at 192. No, I just get out if we make a fresh high, and by fresh high I mean opening range top, and I'll play it back into VWAP. It's $2 to VWAP, man. So risk to reward right there is 2 to 1 to VWAP.
By the way,
what's wrong?
There's something wrong. Greg, there's something wrong. Palantir's not. Like, I tried to go long at 1160. Palantir's not at 1141 right now. There's something wrong with our quotes. I have it on eSignal. Look at eSignal's price. Palantir, 171.
What the?
Yeah, we have if Greg can hear me here, we do have a quote problem right now, and I don't know what the problem is. Let's see, what else is a NASDAQ?
Check something on the same market, in the same...
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think about what it is. What's PDD? Is that a NASDAQ name or a New York name? I need to, Pepsi's a NASDAQ
Pfizer?
name. Yes, Pfizer's a good look. What is Pfizer doing right now? Shit, man, crap. Why does that have to happen to me? Like,
yeah, you're right. It's Pfizer, the same thing.
Come on, like we need some reports on these things. Like this is crazy. We should have gone. Frustrated, man. I don't know. Maybe we can get a report on these quotes. I'll have to just do it myself. I'll ask our team what's going on right here, guys.
Yeah, so just to put the risk reward, I actually just put a bid at 189. I should have already taken this dollar on CrowdStrike, but the second you get any indication of an issue with quotes, I want to double check to see what is not working. I'm in plug and it looks fine, even though it's a P. But it's on the NASDAQ. It's a NASDAQ stock, not in New York. So I think we have like a data issue on a range of stocks, probably just only a day trader world. But 191 is going to be my out. That's what I was just mentioning in CrowdStrike. I want to make sure I get my order out there. I don't want it to move without me there. And I'm going to be in front of the bid. If we get that retracement, some at 89, maybe some out in front of VWAP. See if I can't hold a core position at all. I mentioned plug heading back to the downside. I did make a reload trade. The breakout was good, but I wanted to hold a piece, like that last little 20%, to see if it can get through 27. Didn't want to reload until it retested the breakout support at 25.60. If that goes, I'm out. I don't want to get too stubborn about it. The market is trying to break down here, and just worth noting, I don't have a trade on in Oxy yet. I think we're probably going to have a little bit of something if this shelf goes, but somebody's buying it up here. It's the same thing I saw in Rivian, like 57.40. It just keeps on coming down here, and then you just see enough buyers step up so that it does not break. Overall, Oxy's been relatively strong. It's holding flat, but the floodgates could open up if it takes out that low here. So be careful. If you're holding an Oxy long, I mean, you can see what's going on here. I could see it start to fill a bit of a gap if it makes that break. I'm on the bid in front of 55. Brendan?
A couple things, actually. Asana, first of all, just looking at the quotes, guys, on this one, I don't think there's an issue yet, anyways, on this one. But back to the downside here, a huge volume spike. through 38 to the downside on ASAN as well.
It's usually quarters. It's like a quarter.
Looks like A to M. Yeah, it's definitely P. Definitely P is part of it. P for sure. I'll write in our chat because we have that. We can check out Macy's here. Oh, I want to go to Mosaic here. And again, it looks like, again, Russian industry minister says that they are deciding to suspend fertilizer exports. So we go over to Mosaic here, a big producer there, a nice little bump up 7%. We'll see where it goes. Facebook was $1 in the money there, touching some of these bottoms. We'll see if it continues to hold or not. Facebook, these lows. The NASDAQ did break. We were, again, 50 cents in the money on the Qs, but it's just kind of dancing around here. This is the NASDAQ, dance, 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 and it's just doing the same stuff over and over and over again. So Neil and I will not be able to trade any lower letter names in the New York, it looks like, for right now, because I did want that Palantir long through 60, didn't get it, and that's why when someone said, look at Palantir, I'm like, why the heck am I not long yet? But that's why, because of the quotes, so that makes sense. And our quotes, our trades fire off based on, what the time and sales is doing.
Also, yeah, like execution. If
we don't have execution, we don't have trades.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. I don't want to look any gift horses in the mouth here. Although I did on CrowdStrike. I had a chance to grab that buck at 1-to-1, and I just missed it as we were going over things there. But I'll take the hit on CrowdStrike. It's like 1 win, 1 loss has been the way that it's going this morning. I just got trailed out of Lucid here at 24. I mean, this broke down. At least, thankfully, Lucid gave an opportunity to get into the short. Rivian, it just didn't give us a shot. Like, there was no chance. It just had to be in pre-market or maybe just punch short at the open. But we did get Lucid. I'm now out of that. But Plug Power as well. It's like 1 win, 1 loss. The second I make the win on Lucid, Plug breaks at 25.6. So it was a great trade to begin with. We'll still be up on it, but the reload, not going to work out for me yet. I'd rather see it settle down than dig in too deep at this point. I was looking at AMD as well there, Sean. Yeah, there we go, the 15-minute chart. If it breaks, I mean, it's currently at this 106. I was looking a little bit closer to 105. If it gets back down to these levels here, it was previous support, managed to hold up there at the close when we were starting to flush. It got down to the 105 level, and then we had the gap up. So 105 would be the level I would defend on AMD specifically. It's going to look like a good trail out for now on Lucid at 24, but I need to come back over to everyone's our frustrating stock of the day, which is Rivian. Lucid just made a bounce. Rivian trying to make one as well. We'll see what happens. It's not at that $40 range, but at this point, this trend, it's a short until it's not. And I try to get into Asana because obviously, whoops, that's on the New York still. I try to get into Asana off that double top. I'm sitting there at 38.80. It spiked to 38.78. And then, boom, there's your flush. So there's another one that sort of ran away from me. If it goes to the upside again, I still want to play off these 39 highs to the short side. Now it's put in a couple of capitulation candles and a double top. I think the selling is getting a little bit more safe in Asana.
Yeah, that's a good look there. And again, just watch out for some of these names. We went over to CrowdStrike. So we did short. I mean, this market's popping again. We'll short the Qs one more time here just to see what this does. We are short Facebook again. Facebook's almost close to breaking. So it's... we tried the short. We took 1 win on it. We averaged it in here. And again, it looks like it's, okay, it's coming back down again. I was going to say it looks like it wants to take out the top, but almost does that. It does, actually. We were going to go long on a 60 break, so it didn't happen for us, but it looks like we could be DOA on this Facebook, especially if the market continues to make a move to the upside. It almost ticked us out, man. That's the high that we're looking at, 195.60. Basically, 195.50, give it a little more love. So we did not get tapped out there, but this NASDAQ wants to go, it looks like. It's just now finally taking this out. We'll see if the NASDAQ takes out this 13,570 area, something like that, then we can get back up to the upside. But I don't know. I don't trust anything. I'd rather sit in these trades, but at the same time, I got to get out in case the market does move one way or the other here. It looks like it does want to move to the upside, and Facebook is one of those trades that will punch to the long side, and hopefully we just don't get whipped around. I'm not really seeing too much right now, guys. What's up, Brendan?
A couple days in a row here, guys. A lot of strength for Chevron, CVX. Huge pop there. Just went from 170.5 up to 173, even as crude oil making day lows. Crude now just up 1.9%.
I was about to say, I'm like, it's going down. I watched Oxy looking relatively weak there. And look, the trade I was usually liking on this was at 70s and 75s, and we didn't quite get there on Chevron. But look, I'm not going to ignore that. I still have my breakout set for Oxy, which is about to take out that 59 level. So we might get into Oxy in the midst of this move, which, hey, even if it crudes at those lows, if Chevron's breaking out, maybe Oxy wants to finally take this 59. But if we get to 175, you know I'm going to be watching crude oil futures at 75 on Chevron. Oxy is going to be the next play for me. I'm just going to quickly show you here. This is that double top on Oxy that I'm looking to take the break on. But Chevron 175 has got to be a bit of a thing. It looks like Lucid was the right idea for the short, or at least getting out of it at that bottom. But I'm kind of thinking I should be back into this as it gets back towards that 24.4 and VWAP. Just sort of reloading the short. It looks like it might make a lower high once again. I want it closer to 24.50 if I can, just to get a bit of a better price. Market's still pressing up, which could get me that fill on Lucid. Come on, Oxy, just go. I want to see this breakout so I can get into position, because that 57.5 held so well on Oxy. As the curl comes in Lucid, maybe 10, 20 cents away from where I want it. I'll give it a little bit more time, see if it can't press a bit higher.
Palantir is actually at 1180 right now. We can't trade it, but that was that long that I wanted at 1160. You guys might have heard me say that. Unfortunately, it's 20 cents up, but we don't have the quote on it, so that's why we're not looking at it. And I don't think we have a quote on XOM yet either. No, we don't. So we can't quote XOM either. So, I mean, those two names, unfortunately, we're having data issues today. So just on the lower alphabet there in the New York. So if you are part of our team here, at Day Trade the World, those are the issues right now. Okay, JD continues its march to the downside here on a 1 minute. Oh, no, sorry. Was continuing its march to the downside, bounced off that 50-50. Now it's like, okay, takes that NASDAQ move upside and really likes it. 54, what was that high there? 54.28. Look, if we get below 53 here, let's hit this short 53 on JD, and then we can use the 50 period as our out. So if JD takes down 53 to the downside, let's go on that one. Okay, Facebook, I see you. Now I have to get serious because we're all the way back into the money now on this name, and I don't want to look too much of a gift horse in the mouth. This was almost out for us. So there it is. Yes, let's go, man. We're making some cash now, boy. Now that this market's going to the downside, finally trying to make a move, and I don't know if it's going to sustain itself or not, but we held Facebook like a champ. $1 to the upside there is where it was 4 minutes ago. So yeah, this thing like moving like mad. But again, you know, we take a little bit of pressure off there as it comes right back, gives us about 20 cents or something on our average price. We take a piece out there, but that I just took out a very, very small amount. Like I'm not going to hold it all the way up and then just take it out for flat. So let's see if we can get back in, man. Like this 194, we'll put a bid down there. If we're lucky enough to get that, then yeah, I'd be pretty happy with that fill. So let's put a bid down there at, whoa, here it comes right now, 194. What the? Okay, that was good, man. We'll drop some money now. They don't want to spin it because we're going over to the Brendan, and that animation is a bit annoying to say the least. What's up, Brendo?
I mentioned that mosaic on that Russia fertilizer headline. Here's another little one if you don't want to trade something as pricey, guys. 250 here for AgriForce Growing Systems. They also have a fertilizer component, so day highs here just breaking 250 for AGRI.
Yeah, I just added that AGRA to my list there as you speak, so good look there. I just got into CrowdStrike. I said there'd be multiple shots to be taken at this name. Finally got the Oxy. Oxy breaks at 59. Ollie, oxen free. Yeah. That's off to the races. But CrowdStrike, double top here. I said I'd take one shot at it at that 90 level. It could break, and then I want a different short off the high of the day. Even if it took that one out, then we're starting to think back to that 200 level as well. So, like I said, you have to give some of these some room, or you can try multiple trades. If you have multiple levels, sometimes it just makes sense to have multiple trades. That's what I like to do a little bit better. Waiting for it to start curling and consolidate. That's here at about 93s. Same thing as before. I'll play to what 190, 150. You can kind of see where it made that top. Want to get some out in front of that, and then VWAP for the rest of the retracement. So the setup, pretty much the same as what I would do on that type of a play every single time. And like I said, I just got into Occidental on that 59 break. Better on the 15 minutes to see what that 59 break looks like. Pure momentum play, right? If that's what this stock has turned into, so when I see a break like this on a stock which has been doing that, there's just so much room to run. I'll definitely take some out in front of $60 because it's 60. It's not like oil's going absolutely nuts, but you saw CVX when oil was doing nothing. Yeah. So Oxy can always do the same thing.
Okay. Qs. I mean, yeah, finally, guys. We'll flush this market down a little bit. We took some nice profit there on Facebook. You guys saw that's a nice positive name for us today. But it didn't go down as far as we had hoped. It only got down to the 30s. We did take a bid there. And now we're waiting for 194. As long as the market can stay below, look at the Qs, man. That's 80 cents now in the money. It just went down to 20s and we didn't take it. So now we're sitting there on the Qs again to see if we can get something in the sorry, not the 20s. That was Facebook. Into the 40s here. So we'll see. We are bidding something 294.40 on the Qs in case we get it in. Again, the NASDAQ 100 is what we're trading right now. The NASDAQ short, like yesterday, we called that this market was going up 4%. And I said to Brandon and Luca and all the guys there today that I didn't really have a feel for this today. And you can see why. Look at the market. I mean, we called that again dead on that this might not do anything, but we're going to hold this short. We're short the triple Qs right now at 330.40. It's in the money $1, well, 80 cents. If we can get that bid in the 40s for that dollar, we'll take it. That's the level right here. So one more push down. Oh my God, it pushed down there. We almost got filled again. We're 2 pennies away on the Qs. That's funny. Hopefully it comes in and fills us. NASDAQ making the move down. So as is Facebook. We're hoping 194 bid. Come on, Facebook. You can do it. And we're very close to getting out the Qs. Hopefully when we come back from Brendan, we will have some more positive fills here on both Facebook and the Qs. But let's go over to Brendan and see what the broader markets are doing.
Right across the board, we'll show you how things are shaping up here so far. The S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ all very, very negative. It is the NASDAQ tech stock still leading the way. We did go positive here in Toronto, 0.37 now for the TSX. That is why crude oil holding on to gains, but working its way back to the downside. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum still pretty negative on the day as well. Let's have a look at a few things we were talking about. Asana, yeah, not good on their report, as I was mentioning, back to the downside. JD.com, similar story. Worse than expected loss for JD. Tesla back to the downside as well. And that price hike, guys, back over to you.
Well, he fixed it a little bit.
I love that new look. It's like give the individual names, what they're doing, how they're moving.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we'll do this one for CrowdStrike. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. We said 191, sorry, 191.50. You're going to get the first leg out. It touches just barely. And then we're spiking right back up to those highs. So we're able to take some out there. If it makes the exact same curl off that high, I'll probably get back into it again. But it can now take out the top, and at least this trade will have worked no matter what. But there it goes. It takes out the high. If you don't take any profit, then that counter trend trade is just no good for you. So at least we did it there. The first time through, I had the exact same opportunity to get that first dollar, actually about $1.20, and I didn't make the trade. So got greedy with it. Not this time. This time we take our profit, Miss V.
I'm back. So Issa Mohammed sent us a super chat saying, Miss V, you look great every day. Thank you so much, Issa, for making me feel good every day. I hope you're having a wonderful, beautiful day. And team, thank you for all the support. And I remind you, please don't forget to like this video, as we would really appreciate to get 2,000 likes today. And back to you guys.
All right. Yeah, I mean, hit the like button. You know what I'm waiting at 193.78. Here, this went to 88, so we'll stay on 78, and just because of that, we'll take out another bid. Yes, sir, let's go, man. We'll spin it this time. Facebook, man, we called this short, we hit it, and there it is. Thank you, sir. Short, well served, cold today. So there it comes to the downside. Here comes Facebook. Now we're waiting. We'll see. I'm still bidding 78. Let's see if we get that 78 to the downside. 70 cents in the money now for the Qs on these shorts. This is all that we're doing, man. We're just playing these shorts. I'm pissed off. I know you were short there. You were short CrowdStrike, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Last one was a winner, but you got to take the win. It's now trying to break out the high again.
Right. So I was just going to say, because I missed this trade. This is the one that I was looking at there, and it was when I was getting peed off about Palantir. I really wanted that break, and we missed it. That 188 break there on CrowdStrike was the cash money long, man, and we missed that. That's embarrassing, to say the least, on that for me. But what's not embarrassing is a dollar winner right now on both of the trades that I'm in. So we haven't given you losers yet today. I mean, if you've averaged in to the Qs, we took hits off the open, but right now, since we've opened up here, nice little short on the Qs. We'll see if it can hold these levels now. A couple averages in, it needs to get back down before we start calling this one a winner. We are bidding now in the Qs. Again, 329.40, that same price that we keep on bidding here. Did we just get it? No, we got a Facebook short there out in again. Wow, $1 now, $1.40 now in the money on this Facebook short. So yeah, man, cry no more here in this market as, there we go, poor Facebook shareholders, as this stock just continues to get pumped to the downside. And yesterday I made the comment, we'd be greater than 197 a year from now. And for now, no, get down to 187 if you can, Facebook. We are short at 195.15 right now and cashing that, man. And then look at this. There's another chicken dinner winner for you on the Qs. We take $1 on that one as that's coming back down in. So, hey, the market's bouncing, but that's why you get out. Look at that bid. We talked about that. We only have a small piece left on our Qs trade, and maybe we'll take $1 again on Facebook, but the things are starting to bounce a little bit here as we test the 50 period one more time.
Yeah, I'll get to Oxy. We just took some profit on that one in a second, but AGRI just pumped to $3. So we went to 3. You already had one little turn at exactly 3 even. On the way back down, I took 93s. I'm going to risk 10 cents to try and pull it back into 280, 275, that range here. When I see that last parabolic spike in and it rejects it $3 even, it's a pure play off the even dollar level. You guys have probably seen that trade about 1,000,000 times. So going back to the well for a setup that I like, we're going to go to, I believe, Brendan.
Not maybe a trade right now, but worth putting on a list somewhere, guys. Seed, S-E-E-D, another agri-tech type of company. No volume yet, but I just saw it pop up there with that AGRI. Once again, this is also a relatively low float at $9, guys, for Seed.
I'll make that play, like I said, off of $3. If it makes a pullback, we love it, but it just broke 3 even, so I'll take it out. Going back over to Occidental, which, if something's moving, like I can always come back. Oxy's in the money, right? So whatever, I can take the trade and show you guys a trade of what's actually happening there and come back to Oxy. It got to 59.5, halfway to that 60 level, and is now starting to pull back in. At this point, I kind of feel like there's a chance it could get into VWAP there. Where's my oil chart? Where's my oil futures chart? There it is. So once again, you have a situation where oil is coming down and Oxy and CVX are at those highs, or at least attempting to break out. Now, if this bottom gets held at 110 and we break higher, I think we can safely say that these two names have a chance to run here, but I got to watch out of the corner of my eye. We break the 110 low, and I have a chance to run to the exits. That's why you scalp some out. That's why I'm actively looking at that oil futures chart. CVX, I was really looking for 175 up there for a short trade. That's what had been working for me, but it got to 74, and now you're going to see it start to turn and follow the market. The oil market, that is, oil futures market, which it has clearly not been doing just yet. 174 is your turn. If we hold 110, which we just did not do, they're going to execute first. We just broke 110 in oil futures, so I said if I had a chance to get out of Oxy, when we broke 110, I would just do that. That's my out. Because I had to take profit that was higher in front of 60, it's going to code that as a short because I had a sell order. But I am not short Oxy. It's me taking it out for profit when oil futures broke that 110 level. So locking in the gains. It's a whipsaw market. So I've been locking in profit, then moving on to the next setup. I see you trade Trigger. I know Bumble. I know Bumble is at that. Whoops, it's still on the NASDAQ. Bumble's at that $25 level. It hasn't been as crazy as obviously what you saw yesterday, but 25 was level. It tried to get there yesterday's action, 24.75. You're seeing it test here just now. Yes, it's on the radar. I was waiting for it to get up here. There's no way I wanted to take a trade until it got to that key price.
Okay, we're just getting ready to rock and roll here. I'm going to take CrowdStrike to the long side if it takes out this 195 area here. Lots of momentum here, so we're going to play that. We're $1 in the money on the Facebook trade, and we're 80 cents in the money on Qs. I wanted to address something. Someone here, where is it? Because you're probably just here for the first time, so I'll talk about it here. Okay, it's right here. What's up to our friend right here, Byzantine. What's up, Byzantine? It says, I was short Facebook 44, now 195, but it didn't go up there. So how am I showing 195 short? By the way, we are now short Oxy. Right now, we took that short 95. So let's see how far Oxy wants to fall down now. And I'm going to explain that Byzantine in a second. Okay, so that was, just to see, 58.70 or so. I mean, I hate this stock. So yesterday was not, I mean, again, it was fun to trade yesterday, but not a profitable one for me, although we did did crush it, reversing the long. Now we'll take the short. We'll see if we can get a piece out here at 70, then hopefully hold down for here, 58.30 or so, and then start making some money on that name. Okay, Facebook, just quickly, I got to get out of some of these trades before I go ahead and address your question, Balzantine there. And then I also got to make sure that I don't have too many pushes forward on Facebook in case we do get that pump. So there it is, another out on Facebook. So just to go with what you were saying, what we show on the show, and this is the problem, which is why I keep saying in the chat, if you want to know if we are up or down on a name, all you do is just tag us, ask us there in the chat, and we'll be able to tell you if we're positive or negative on a name. It's because it shows, there we go, there's Oxy. Yeah, let's go. We'll drop down some cash for Oxy on a nice little 30-cent win there on half, where it's going to hold out for more, hopefully, on that one. There goes CrowdStrike also breaking through the top. But it shows the last trade that we've taken. It doesn't give an average price, which sucks. I really, really wish it did. And it's just the way, the software here at Day Trade the World works. So instead of like showing you this price, and this price all mashed into one, which I wish it did, because then you could see exactly the prices that I'm dealing with, and it would give you a better idea, but it doesn't do that. So that's the issue there. It will always show the last trade that you got in. So when I exit out of that one, it then reverts the price up here. So it's like last in, first in, first out. Yeah, so it sucks, and I understand that, but that's why I'm saying that Neil, myself, Brendan, any of us, if you want to know if we're positive or negative on a name, just ask. I mean, that's what we're doing. We can't, talk about being the truth and not give it to you. So let me know if there's any names you need. By the way, Oxy. Money. Finally, in your face, Oxy from yesterday. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but we're now 80 cents in the money on this trade. What's up, Bren?
Back to session highs. Anyways, back to that 29.50 on a decent volume spike. 5.5% today on that split news for Amazon. Also, remember Arcadia? Well, they also make fertilizer, guys. So Arcadia catching a bit on that.
Actually, it's weird that we don't. Yeah, the one stock that we didn't really talk too much about there was Amazon, and apologies for that. I did write down this morning. I was like, oh yeah, Amazon, 28.30 to like to 28 even, 2800 that is even are prices that I liked. I'm back over to Agri. Yeah, Agri, I can call it that. You have a wick off top. Okay, wick off top. What's the next setup for me? First it was $3 because that's an even dollar price. Wick off top, consolidation lower. It just happens to be at $3 again, so I just happen to have basically the same price. But once it's done this, give it a little bit more room. Before, it's a pure even dollar trade, so you're giving it to that $3 even, or at least I am. Now I'm looking at this lower high, 310 to 312 was where we stalled out in that initial breakout and a bit of consolidation there. So that's what I want to give it to. Bumble, I'm going to give it a little bit past 25, but someone said 25.50. No, I'm not giving it that much room. Short interest is too big to give it that much space on Bumble. So when it's a short type stock, I always have a bit of a tighter stop. I might give it a few pennies past 25 even, just to make sure you're not wicked out. But I don't mind getting wick topped out on anything that has squeeze play potential. I'd rather just take that hit than die on a sword on something which has that explosive upside. So I'm going to get my stop in here on AGRI. I keep trying to get back into Lucid, but you know what? It just doesn't want to seem to go that high. So not going to be in that Lucid trade. Watching it still try to get to that 24.4, and we'll get to Rivian in a second.
Here we go. This is what we're doing, man. We'll hit the siren one more time. Check out CrowdStrike, baby. This is $1 now in the money. We talked about taking that. Bang, there it is. We just take that out at 196. What was that? 190. That's $1.15 now. 196.40. We just got that out. Let's go, CrowdStrike. Oh yeah, and how does that taste, Oxy? $1 in the money on CrowdStrike. $1 in the money on Oxy, man. We already taken multiple dollars there on Facebook as it's starting to go back up, man. The only negative name, we have AMD today that we were long and got out because the market started to crash. Thank God we were able to get out of that one. And the Qs, we just got out of that as well, as you can see, flat. But there goes CrowdStrike. Nicely traded here, man. $1 plus in the money. The only trade, honestly, this could be just a monster day, but if it breaks that 188 there and I'm on it, wow, to the upside. That was the move right here. You got a VWAP and a 50 period right beside each other. That break was an absolute beast. But hey, I can't complain. $1.50 now in the money on this name as it continues to go. $1.50 in the money on CrowdStrike, $1.50 in the money on Oxy. It don't matter, man. We're trading earnings. We're trading oil. Hit the like button. This is Trader TV Live, and I'm the people people's trader, and I'm just chilling. So let's go. Let's see if you can find something else. Right now, market's booming to the upside on that CPI number. I don't know.
We just got to the opening range top. I'll do this. It's a little easier to show you on the ES. Opening range high, 42.5. We just got there. The NASDAQ, 13.6 as well. So I'm actually looking the opposite. Yesterday, what worked, or what has been working typically, has been finding those tops in the overall market and essentially fading off anything that's at resistance at that point. So 200 is pretty close on CrowdStrike. I'm definitely going to be looking at that one. And look what is coming back into 170 as CVX is just flushing into this 170 mark. Oil is about to hit the overnight support level, which was at 107. And you're right here at VWAP. So if there's any bounce off 107 in oil, I'm looking at this level right here on CVX. If that can start to hold up, it's been relatively strong. And this is what I'm talking about on oil futures. So you can see there's your overnight support. There's your level on Occidental. There's your first little bit of a bounce, just looking for that consolidation. The stop can be at 170 on a trade like this, or you're simply looking at that 107 level. But it's starting to check up here, and I'm watching oil. Oil has to bounce first, and then it's the long.
Stamp the fail on this Oxy chart, guys. Wow, whatever. We're just chilling out. What's up to Wisconsin Nation on there? Yeah, Henry, I'd love to trade Palantir. Can't until it gets fixed, and
still not.
I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell us when it is. But right now, Oxy, look at that, man. We got out at this bottom of the day here, and then look what happened. It just went $1 more. So Oxy right now. I know it was the trade of the day yesterday, but hey, man, like this could be the trade of the day again. We wait for it to consolidate on Oxy, right? Wait for the consolidation. Wait for oil to start making that move down, and then for me, man, it's just about as easy as that. Take it. Hit the short. Unfortunately, you know, because of my experience with it yesterday, which is fine, man. We'll make money back on it today. That's how it works. We did take a little piece out there for an amazing 50 cents, and there 40 cents, and then there's the dollar and change on that last move. That's a 59 short out at the day's bottom at the time of 57.40. So that's $1.50 right there. So what's up? Yeah, I'm sorry too, Henry, about PLTR. But let me check. Maybe it is fixed. Let's go over to it right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is fixed. So it's fixed right now. So we will look at Palantir. But see, we're missing all this data. The trade I wanted on Palantir, just to show you, and I had the order in, which sucks, was to go very, you know, it was going to be a full position, and it was just a pre-market break if the market got going. So it was 1160 long, and that's what triggered me to know that we were screwed up on these names, because I was like, why am I not long yet? And then there it is to the upside. We'll leave you at this, but CrowdStrike right now, ripping faces off. We're long at 195.25. That long was cash, man, and I just feel bad that we weren't long at 188. But there it is right now, a $2 winner for CrowdStrike, as all is well over here. And I'm sure all is well at the big screen as Brendan goes over a name that we haven't really touched.
Hasn't really done much, to be honest. Longeveron, we were talking about in the pre-market there. LGVN. I mentioned 850 was the top end of the daily range. That was the break there of 850. I had to stop sitting there, got long right at the open, immediately stopped out of that through 8, flipped that short, make it all back, and then some. Back to the downside. So we'll see what happens here around 750 now for LGVN. This level here was 7 at the end of the day yesterday, kind of grinding to the downside for LGVN, still 7.5%. 9 as well, same idea. Long initially, quick scalp, flip it short, down to 410 now, 420 for NINE. That was one of those crazy oil stocks. I wanted to mention this as well. I was in one of the other ones, but IMPP, a great test of 6, which came into play the past couple of days here. Pretty clear level right out of the gate, and then straight down to 5 for IMPP. Guys, back over to you.
And we'll do one of these ones, case closed. And I just was talking to Shammy in the chat there. One of the reasons I've been trying to, every chance I get, if I'm putting an oil trade on, show you what's going on in the oil futures and exactly what the thought process is. So there's that overnight low, 107. There's the turn at a support level on CVX. There's your bounce off VWAP. You get 71. You get 72.5. I'm not thinking home run on this trade. It is swing, get in, get out, take your winner. It was the exact same thing that got me out for profit on Oxy when it turned. And this has been working. This trade has been working for the last week or so. So I want to keep going to the well as long as we're volatile. Agri, which ARGI, it's just easier to say Agri, actually. But ARGI, I got what do I have? 2 stops there. I should only have 1. Makes that rollover at 3. Tried to take out that high again. Couldn't get there, so the rollover has now started to occur. I'm going to get some more shares out around 280, and then I'm looking for VWAP here at about 265, 270, so I'll throw a couple of bids down there. And it's just felt like this has been the way to go, like get in, get out. I've been saying this the last week, like a lot of times what will happen at this time of day, it's like if you're in something with the trend of the market and it's been giving you a trend, you hold on to it. Otherwise, just make those scalp trades. The trend of the market was up, and the trades I really love were those shorts, right? So we are out of Lucid because we held on as far as it could go. Now it's bouncing. Now the trend of the market is to the upside. So I don't see a trade till we get back to some of those highs. And Rivian, which we never even got into the short, now it's all the way back at 43. This has a setup, right? Like this isn't a gap down, but effectively at the open, it gapped down like $1.50. It fell $1.50, and then things started to make some sense. Like there was actual price discovery, and that didn't start happening until $43. So I've been waiting for it to get back to this price. It consolidates up. Now it works. Risk to reward, risk 15, 20 cents, something like that. Jump into a Rivian short here. If it breaks 43, I'll give it to like 43.10 or so. But the market also at that top, that if it makes a bit of a turn, okay, well, Rivian's been weak. Maybe it can make another bounce off the bottom. It is worth noting, it's a double bottom at 41.50. That's a pretty good base of operations for it if there wants to be a rally going into its earnings aftermarket.
Yeah, we're going to put our bid for Rivian right here about 42.30 or 42.40 here and see if it comes back down in, and then hopefully we'll be able to take out the bottom of the day here on Rivian. So, yeah, we're short right now, that name. And we're long CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike, any news on Alibaba? Well, look. Hey, what's up,
It's JD with the news, all right?
Yeah, exactly. What's up, AxeCap? Right there. Nice to see you in here. Good seasons on billions a couple times. There goes Rivian right now. Like your boy shorted that right there, man. This is another name that's on the sticky note. So we might as well. We have decent amount of shares, man. So we'll take 30 cents right there. Yes, sir. Let's go to the downside now. Rivian, if this can keep going, it's just bouncing off. We'll see if it tests that 50 period. It's right there. We'll take it out. That's 30 cents right there in about a minute. 30 cents in a minute. We'll take it. And again, you know, like I said, you need to know anything about us. That is that. We'll tell you guys positive or negative on a name. There goes Baba to the downside. We'll see. It started to take off. It was to the downside early today, and then it's bouncing a little bit here. This is what Alibaba looks like. Oh yeah, okay, so it just took out the 50 period. That probably is a decent short, but this just looks too choppy. Look at the futures right now. It's very choppy. Like, this is the thing. I was saying it to the guys in the back today, and I mentioned it to you guys. Didn't have a feel here going into today. The CPI screwed everything up. ECB came in. Oil's bumping right now. Let's just check back on our Oxy trade. Looks like a decent out. It's right back to where we were. So right there, not decent because it had that bottom, but there we go. Oxy to the upside. Oh yeah, and by the way, CrowdStrike, let's go right now. A big move on CrowdStrike up to the upside here, taking out day's high, man. This is already going to be frustrating stock of the day, and we will talk about that, but it could also be Palantir as that keeps on ripping due to a nice move on the upside of Palantir. Upgraded yesterday. What's up, B?
I want to mention this one, guys, NEO. We didn't talk about it pre-market. I wanted to talk about it pre-market, but didn't get to it. Their Hong Kong listing had their first day overnight, was a huge move higher, but not so much benefit here for the New York listing today. Straight downside for NIO today.
I know we meant to talk about this. Someone in the chat was asking about it pre-market. I know I was going back and forth a little bit, sort of saying everybody knew this was coming. Like it was going to give some cover in case there's a delisting here, that there's somewhere your shares could go, but you've known this. So that benefit or that positive sentiment or whatever you want to call it, that had come and gone. So maybe it should have been a sell event, and maybe we could have shorted it as well, but Rivian went down too and Lucid went down too. It's also just a part of the space. So I think any one of those would have worked. We liked Rivian because it was reporting, and then after what happened to Lucid, but you could have made the same play on NEO here, and it just so happened that they're all going to fall down. I took the first of my Rivian out, probably around the same place because right on that cluster here at 42.5, and then I'm shooting for 42.25 or 42.10 actually, just right in front of that 42 level. Given that double bottom and what I'm seeing happen overall in the market, I'm going to go with taking the in, out, take the win where it's pretty clean. Just coming back over to a name that this morning I was surprised had not moved, and a lot of people were saying this, Fuel cell after earnings had not moved at all. Well, it's moved now, and it's got a triple top at $6.90. Your 200 period is right at $7. Your last capitulation was off a failed break at $7. You can kind of see what I'm going to be getting at here. So this move into 7, that's resistance enough for a bit of a short. I guess there could have been a breakout long, but it was off my radar when it had done essentially zero volume pre-market. Not one that I had expected to do that, so I had no trade for it at that time.
All right, guys, we're just tweeting this out about the Sticky Note Nation here for Rivian as it's starting to go back down to the downside right now. And yeah, we take a couple pieces out. We have a decent amount of shares here, so we'll see if it can go to the day's low. That's what we just tweeted out. I'm thinking it does, so that's what I'm looking at here for Rivian, trying to get down to the day's low right now. Good. You know, and again, we just talked about being as patient as we possibly could for this name, and I believe that we did it. So, hey, man, great action here on Rivian. We waited as patiently as we could, and we just tweeted that out, right? So that's something that if you're going to follow me at TraderTV Sean. And I think this is the key thing here, is just be patient with Rivian. We waited. It was on the sticky note, man. It's just, it tanked early. We regretted not having it. We wait for it to come back in, and there's the trade right there. So you can find it on Twitter at TraderTV Sean. I'm going to post some of the setups that I like. And again, it's for you. It's because I get, you guys respond, and you're like, you tell me that you want those. So that's why we do it, and that's why I'm going to keep talking about it. As Rivian right now, monster trade in. Like, we're 80 cents in the money now on Rivian. We're $2 now in the money on CrowdStrike, still ripping to the upside. So hey, we're going to hold these, like Neil said, play the momentum as much as you can on these names. We're only negative on one name today. That's the triple Qs, and all of that, sorry, we're negative on one name. It's AMD. The triple Qs, we're negative from the pre-market. Still counts, but so far so good here today. Look at CrowdStrike. Holy shnikes, as that goes to the upside. $1.98 now, $3 now in the money on this name. CrowdStrike, Neil, the name that just keeps on pumping. I wonder what Asana's doing right now. To the downside, maybe. Asana, let's have a quick look at this one. Ooh, it's Asana.n. Okay, it's in New York. All right. Yeah, so it's same thing, man. If you waited very, very patiently, you would have had a 6 short there on Asana. Too bad we were looking at Rivian, but that was a great play as well. Let's just keep on watching this CrowdStrike.
Yeah, I took my profit on Rivian as well, but I'm all out of that one, looking for the next trade. Fuel cell, like I said, I'm on the offer at 685, just to confirm we had those shares. Was it Brendan I just heard? Yep.
Market, excuse the gap in this chart as we had a data issue, as we were saying. Back to highs here, just had a bit of a volume spike. They reassured their current forecast, guys, for the current quarter and full year for the remainder of the year, but GE still down slightly on the day. Let's get a quick check on how things in Europe are shaping up. 1 hour left in the day over there, Miss V. What's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are negative. Automakers, retailers, and banks fell the most, with Hugo Boss trading in Germany down more than 9% after announcing a temporary hold of its businesses in Russia, though it forecast an upbeat 2022. Back to you.
Yeah, some of the retailers I saw here pretty negative so far today as well. Thank you. We are, guys, down 0.8 for the overall market at this point, but hey, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, and Dinesh here saying CVX at 174. Look, I get it. It's at that high again. I'll do this to quickly show you. Yeah, it's at that triple top, but the trade that worked for me was lining it up with an oil futures level. I don't see one, so I'm not making the play. And a point about NEO, because the question was asked, like, isn't it diluting shares, getting a different, getting a new listing? Isn't that why it's down? To my understanding, Neil's not diluting shares with that new listing, and that's what makes it different. It's still down anyways, I get it, but that to me is not the catalyst, because from what I read, they are not diluting in that case. There's a wick off top in CrowdStrike. We were looking for it to make a top. If it gets back to about 197, I will play that same setup one more time here. It should have been 2 for 2. But I didn't take profit the first time through. So that's my mistake. Like, it went $1 down in the money. That was the same moment we were having that data issue. And the first thing I wanted to do was make sure the stocks that I were in, I was actually getting data for, which I would do every single time, right? Like, you know, you want to confirm if I'm sitting in a trade, can I actually see the actual quote, which was true because I didn't have anything that was in that group of, I guess, names that were affected. But that wick off top there looks like it's pulling back in. It might give a consolidation sometimes. I'm looking for 197s. That would be the level I would take.
All right, you guys mentioned, yeah, CrowdStrike, a good name so far today. We'll see. It's fading back in right here. Definitely a reload somewhere around 194 if you can get it. Okay, Rivian. like, again, I'll just keep doing this, man. I mean, this is what we're talking about. And if you're on the sticky note, you would be seeing these plays. Rivian to the downside. We're still in this. This is $1 now in the money. Like, honestly, I'm not really sure what else to do with some of these plays, man. I mean, these have been good trades for me. To the downside goes Rivian right now. So down, down, down. We took out 20, 40, 60%. We still have some shares on. It just touched that bottom of the day. And again, look at the tweet that I just put out, right? Let's see day's lows here on Rivian. Unfortunately, I didn't have a bid there. Should have done that. And that's the, sometimes the problem with being on the show. But let's put a bid right now at that day's low, 41.50. I don't know if it went to that or not right there. But yeah, it looks like it did. Someone did swipe this down to that 41.60. So let's put a bid there. Hopefully we're able to hit that and take it. So we'll continuing to the downside here, Rivian, you got to stick to your guns, man, and that's what it's all about, right? Trade the names that you like and trade the names that are setting up. So Rivian to me was a short. We just had to wait like a thief in the night for that trade, and man, did that come in, and that was an easy one right there. Rivian to the downside. Hopefully it continues, and we'll be able to make a little bit of cash on this. Auto cancel off so it doesn't cancel. And then here comes CrowdStrike right back in. This is a winner for me already, but again, we don't need this thing to drop too much lower. We'll get out of this if it takes down this 194 area or so, but it just gapped or just wicked down to that 195, 198 top right there on CrowdStrike. So still in the money, 40 cents, but a dangerous name as the market's coming back in here. Yeah,
and I did get into that SL like I mentioned. I'm going to show this first because it's happening right now. So when a stock moves in the money, we can go to what's really going on. And CVX, which I like at 175, the 50s, 60s, 55s, all that kind of nonsense. I want it to line up with a level. If you look at where we bounced in the aftermarket, in the afternoon yesterday, it's aftermarket for oil futures. But 107 bottom, that's what we took the long on CVX. Now you had that top, which is about 111. There was some consolidation there. I'm looking for now 111 to hold and play off 175. Now, again, I don't necessarily think it has to be a home run trade. I want it first spiking and give me that short at 111 or 175. And then get that potential turn. I want to see us reject 111 on oil futures and then take a turn off 175. It doesn't have to happen, but that's the trade that I want. That's the trade we're going to look to be able to grab. Just going to come back over to, where is it? Where are you? FSL for a quick little second because I wanted to show you first what would happen next. And then we can talk about the stock that's starting to work into the downside. I'm actually on the bid right here, just going to adjust the order, take some 77s out there, cancel that one. And then see if we can't get back into VWAP here. So I'm looking, why did that not cancel? There we go. I'm looking for 671, likely. And then VWAP here would be, 665. So I guess where I would have to bid to be in front of VWAP on Fuel Cell, and that's where we'll put the bid in. Triple top, it's actually at 690. I got an 85 short, 84 and change. 84 is an 85, so 85 half. And we'll take this out at the top if it goes. I think it has a chance to make move back into the downside, guys. And you're right, T's trade, AMD, now down at that 185 level, or at least trying to test it here. The market is also churning to the downside. Like the NASDAQ broke the floor, so the reason why I wouldn't be in something like this already is the NASDAQ is breaking the floor. And I don't like taking a long off a support level and something that's going to overall follow the market just automatically. I want to see us bounce back above here. So 185 is held for now. I just want to see, there we go, a little bit of a bounce in the futures. And the difference in price is, so you would have 105.10 or 105.22 off 105 level. Doesn't really matter, but at least the futures had slowed their roll a little bit here before I got into AMD. But this is the next level down. It's the first trade for me in this stock. I'll give it a few shekels past this 105. Not too far. I'm not talking 104.50 or anything like that, unless the market wants to get back above 13.5. But right now the NASDAQ is churning, which means I want to have a tighter stop because we are going to that downside.
All right, guys. Yeah, check out Rivian right now. There it is right there. We'll hit the slap shot again on that stock, and we'll hit the siren as well. Rivian, a big move down, $1.30 to the downside right now on Rivian. We peg this. This is all you need. If you're going to have one trade, why not just have this one today or the Oxy trade as well? And it's easy to pick and choose these. You got to just wait for levels to develop, and I think that's what. And I want to say a big thank you to Digital Content there. Thanks for the shout out. Calling these professional trades. most of what I'm putting on here obviously is a show, right? This is about entertaining. So I sit here and I'm very, very, trying to be somewhat comical, somewhat entertaining for you guys. But at the end of the day, it's all about making that money. So that's why I respect comments like that, because real see real and I see you digital content. So what's up, Brendo or Ms. V or somebody?
Yet another one, guys, on the fertilizer front. Seed, but a different seed. This time CEAD. This is a former SPAC, just a heads up, another low floater, but trying to get back to the upside here for the other seed now.
There's too many of them. Like, obviously, you've seen what's going on with some of these. It's just whatever sector is going nuts, or it can be a commodity, throw like a small cap or a low float to it, and it's got squeeze potential. So, and day one has usually been only try to go long if you can. There's been short trades you can definitely have, but that day one play has been typically the long side. We saw that with some of the metals names when you'd have these random names start to go. That's just going to be in play in this environment. You got to be going over to those. If you have setups that involve like breakouts and whole style trades, then they're going to be applicable regardless. It's more about the amount of the float and the price action than anything else. AMD's starting to level off. The futures are trying to make a level as well. And again, I could have been long when it got to 105.50, but I said, no, if you're going counter trend, wait for 105 exactly. It's now bounced a second time. It got to 98. And if you put your stop at exactly 105, you're already triggered out. That's why I believe usually in giving it a little bit more room past that level. It's just, it gives you some cover that if it's going to do one of those wick off bottoms on you, you're not going to just be triggered out and then it runs against you. Now, this did not go up to 105.60, bit of a dark pool print there, but I will be taking some out if it goes to 105.60.
All right, yeah, those are some good levels on AMD. I was just looking at Mr. Softy as well here, as Rivian still to the downside. Microsoft, yesterday was the trade of the day was XOM. Could have been Microsoft as well, as we hit that pretty good, man. Long 281s yesterday. I don't know if they're here. They're not, but it was down into here, 281s. We put on the sticky note that we wanted the same type of thing here today. It actually early was bouncing. Remember, we were short Facebook, and it just kept bouncing off this 282. That should have been the long again there today, but we didn't take it. We were too short the other stuff, and we just didn't want to push too much here on this market. But it looks like the market wants to bounce, so I think we could try to play it here. It's pretty choppy. It needs to take out this 283.50 level. If it can do that, fine. But the market is well below. I actually like, and Neil and I, we make our own decisions here, but just like that level on AMD, that could break lower. You got to watch out for the NASDAQ. We are low there, but you are kind of barcoding, and this is what I'm talking about here. It's not really barcoding because it's not doing it for long enough, but the NASDAQ's just trying to figure itself out. So if we do get a pop, that's a nice little move there for this. So we'll see if it can take it back. I'm still waiting for 14,000 to show its head again on the NASDAQ, but for right now, that's not happening. So we'll have to wait out and see where we go. But Rivian, $1.50 now in the money. CrowdStrike still holding up, $1 in the money. I may just take this out. The market's fallen down, and CrowdStrike. Hey, look, when you're holding stock, two names that are both $1 in the money, you don't have too many problems. But right now, I don't know, man. CrowdStrike definitely holding up pretty good. And Rivian, we've already cashed out. We're only 20% of that one. So actually, we're 20% of each of these, both Rivian and CrowdStrike. But right now, it's Brendan over there at the big screen. Looks kind of red.
Back to the other direction, yeah. After this board was completely positive yesterday, where you are pretty red here, guys. 1.07 right now on the overall S&P. That's the energy group, basically all of it in positive territory. There are a few break even or slightly to the downside, but the only thing really showing any kind of positivity today, it is tech leading back to the downside, as we saw at 10 o'clock in the pre-market as well, the NASDAQ. The worst off right now, that's Apple. Apple down 2.8% on the day today. WDC right beside it there, 2.7%. Software names, semiconductors down here, they're all in negative territory. Amazon standing out there, 5.5% still for Amazon. Higher on the session following the split news. Some of the travel names popping up once again to the upside. CCL, NCLH, Marriott there, all 1.5 to 2.5%. Back in positive territory. Healthcare stocks, industrials then, also both in negative territory, even with a few individual names there. CAT, DE as well, standing out in positive territory. But here we go, back and forth, this time to the downside after yesterday, guys. 1% for the S&P. Back over to you.
So we always talk about opportunity cost, and yeah, like the opportunity cost of AMD at that bottom. Look, if it works, it works. But the opportunity cost was missing CVX when oil futures made the turn where I wanted it to turn, and we actually got to 174.76, which is certainly close enough to what I wanted. So it's obviously, look, it's going to happen to you. And I'll say candidly, like, given the way that trade has worked, I should have prioritized CVX over AMD in that spot. I did not do it. Agri just got back up to 350. Another $3 short. We got most of it out in front of like 280. Never got to VWAP. Now it's retesting. That's a true high, by the way. It did get to 350, or sorry, 344 before it turned. So, you know, when I'm using this 350 level, it got there. Like, that's not one of those fake wicks. We'll let you know. A lot of times you get these dark pool wicks, which are absolute nonsense and they're just late reporting. This is real. It actually went $3 in 1 minute to 340 in reverse. This time it climbs a little bit more steadily to 350. I play the 3, I play the 350 short. I just grabbed 42s. I've taken 2/3 of it out at 30. So quick, risk about 5 cents plus slippage to try and make 15. The next push down, I try to get out in front of 10s and then 3 even as we take you to Miss V.
Hey guys, Stephen Howard on the chat brought up that it's like o'clock, and I kindly remind you to smash the like button. We have more than 5,000 people watching, and we really hope for your support, guys. Back to you.
All right, so we'll hit the siren one more time because CrowdStrike, there it is, man. We just took it out. We took it out for that dollar. I think it was $1 flat, actually. We got filled at 196.26. Yeah, so $1.01, it looks like. Yeah, $1.01 on that trade to close out the CrowdStrike. And it was a great trade to the upside. It failed at 195 early, so we got out. These are all 25%, so 25, 25, 25. Our best out is basically right here. We missed that 198, but that's okay. We'll hold that. 196.40 is our best out, and a bunch of so 196, 196.40, 196.26. Right there or so on that trade. So yeah, pretty damn happy with the way things are going. And then Rivian is the only name that we're holding. And we said that we would wait until the low of the day, which case right now our things aren't working again, Lucas, which isn't a huge problem, but our board not working for the graphics. But there it is. The market turns red. We put it on Twitter. And look, I stick my neck out all the time for you guys. So, you know, we called the day's low. We're holding it till then. We only have 20%, but there it is. Hopefully you guys held it as well. It looks like it's going to be a good trade here for Rivian. It already is. Can't turn this one into a loser, but Rivian to the downside. So far, so good there. And then CrowdStrike, just like, look at, like, talk. Ooh, I got to make sure I don't have that trigger in anymore. Cancel that. Look at that out we just took on CrowdStrike right there. Wow, for that. That was a good out there on CrowdStrike as the market right now turning red, and we're trying to get everything back on our board. But Rivian right now is $1.80 in the money, man. $1.80 in the money on Rivian, and I think we'll just hold this one all day if we can. Bye-bye, Rivian. See you later.
Yeah, it's Trent A. You're right. Like fuel cell, it might come back down, but I said $7. It breaks, I get out. I'm gonna always take the paper cut. Like it's just the way to do it. Like it's going counter trend. The market's down, it's up, it's going. You can actually see even like the other way too. Like AMD just took out the bottom. I got in, I got out. I gave it to 80. I told you guys when my stop was gonna be there. So you risk about 40 cents or 45 cents depending on your slippage. 1-to-1 was at 105.50. That's where I was gonna be sitting. AGRI. I almost got more shares in here as it spiked back up to 340, and then I thought better of it, right? Like this is not the first time it went to 350. It's the second time it went to 350. Let's not ignore when it made that consolidation after the spike up, it then went to first level and then held that support and broke back up. In this particular case, I'll zoom in for you a little bit here. This didn't even go to first level support down at 315, and it's already starting to spike back to the upside. So no average into this one. It's looking a little bit too strong for that. That setup, I like it. I'll take it, and it does win for you. But the key is, if you take nothing out, when it takes out the high, it needs to be perfect. Like if you try to hold it for VWAP or $3 every single time to make the maximum on the trade, then when it does the stair step to the upside and then the smaller stair step down, you're not taking any profit and you're just going to lose every single time. Or you can actually maintain some discipline and cover a little bit out here. That's why I'm going to be aggressively on the bid. You're going to see that strong uptrend continue to go. Like I said, CVX, if you actually ended up taking this trade, which I should have over AMD, but they were happening at the same time, there's your 111 hold on oil futures, just to make sure you guys can see it there. And there's your turn there, overall 175. At this point, when you're trending to the downside, yeah, would I be taking some out there about 173 for sure, and then VWAP 172, rinse and repeat. If it holds VWAP again, I don't think you're going to get the shot at 107 on oil futures. Maybe you're looking at something like a 109. It does not look as good. It was juicy on the pullback before. Like that first pullback into VWAP 171, you were tearing down into overnight support levels. But here, if you make the same play to VWAP, there's no real significant level that you're going into. So I wouldn't be forcing the trade there. As Agri starts to come back in, like I said, it's too strong not to get more aggressive taking profit out. I might even take some in the 30s again.
All right, Agri, a nice move up. We talked about, I mean, I'm only in one trade right now, and it's about as simple as it can get, and it's just going to be Rivian. I'm just going to wait for this one to go. One name I wanted to look at that we've been looking at here is SoFi. This is honestly, man, like I like this name, and I think there's a lot of potential here with SoFi moving forward, and it's just a matter of picking it up at the right prices, and I can't say that this is the wrong price. I think that this is a good price right here for SoFi. I mean, you're basically at that bottom that I was talking about, 926. That was only a couple days ago. The ultimate bottom here on the daily chart for SoFi, and this is that YOLO trade that I'm talking about here. I feel like you can YOLO this trade in, and it's right down in here, right? So I think like that bottom of 840 that was made in February 24th, that could be the bottom. But hey, I mean, you're not too far away from that. You could always wait to see if that comes through. But you do have a $9 cover as well right here. So I feel like there is some potential to do something good here with Rivian or SoFi to the upside. But for a day trade right now, the market is breaking back up. I guess we can look at AMD. I don't know if that's still a trade that you're in. The market is starting to go. I was looking at that, AMD at 105 there. I don't know. This trade right here on SoFi could go up, breaking this level. I'd rather break this at 948 to the upside and then use these as the bottoms. But let's just quickly look over here. AMD 105.30. I mean, for me, again, I'd want to see this break right here at 105.70 first before we get into it. But man, I think you might have pegged something there. I mean, how low is it? 10. I guess you can get, I mean, we can get a hell of a lot lower. It's really just a matter of what you think about this market, guys. And honestly, it still, to me, is way too choppy. Like, we're only down 1.67%. So, I mean, to look here and pick out levels, I really think I'm just throwing darts right now. So until I find something, that's why crowd was so good for me. And again, I'm not going to even type it in there. It should work. Anyways, 194, right? You wait, you hit when you see something. We took out this high of 195. We went long, no problem. But I'm not seeing anything right now. We are starting to make a little bit of a bottom, but again, with the NASDAQ below, do I really want to hit CrowdStrike long? Probably not. So we're going to wait to see and try to pick our spots. Like I said, off the sticky note, the only short that we're in right now is Rivian. This is the perfect price for me. It came all the way back up, besides the open where I canceled my 44.80 offer. As you guys remember me saying that, and it printed me, or would have printed and went right through. It printed 45s, and then now we wait for that. Comes right back, 41, guys, a big move to the downside. Okay, Dinesh, I see you. What's up, Dinesh? Ford down there at 16 bucks right now. So yeah, that's a key level. 2% down on Ford. Great level here, Dinesh, because you can use 1590 as your route. For me, I'd still rather have a trend change, take out this 50 period in VWAP. But wow, Dinesh, there goes Rivian again, back down to 41 flat.
If there's a direction in the market, because it has been whipsaw, like the ES actually hasn't even broken the range. Even to the bottom, the ES hasn't broken the range. But the NASDAQ did break down. So at least you can say that it got past this 13.5 level and is trying to hold below it. And that's the reason, like, I got out of the AMD, like I mentioned to you guys, but I'm not really looking for another bottom pick in the long until we find a support level there. But AGRI, I have only 20% of it left, but I'm just going to point out that 350, which is now a double top, there is this little bit of overhead possible resistance as it wicked up here going all the way back in November last year. So when in doubt, zoom out a little bit further, but it's about to break 350. I want you guys to see there's overhead resistance at 67, so be careful of a failed break. Brennan? And then, of course, failed break.
Rivian. Brendan?
Hey guys, yeah, let's talk currency. The Dow, I just saw 300 now to the downside. Here we go. The dollar in focus today once again with CPI. This is a daily chart, tough to see, but it actually tested lower. So we broke yesterday's low initially, then the number comes out in line, and we go right back to the upside. So it was up about 0.5% at one point, now 0.4 for the US dollar. So under pressure here for the euro. They had some negative data as well. We were talking about the pre-market there. 0.5% to the downside. Canadian dollar was red, has since gone green. Back to 78.25 there. Same story for the British pound. Downside. Everything else slightly higher. Russian ruble continues to bounce 21%. Back to the upside today. BTC, not so much. 6.5 now. Again, we're back below 40, guys, for Bitcoin. Back over to you.
Yeah, it is what it is. It was the reason Bitcoin made that move yesterday was the leak, whatever. And then it's just essentially right back to where we were before. And if you're not, there was a leak of the the administration, the regulation on crypto. So I was trying to get to the ARGI, that overhead resistance. Try not to take breakouts that are at highs on parabolic movers if immediately above the key level is overhead resistance on the daily chart or the 15-minute or whatever higher time frame you like. I had the last 20%. I was going to stop at 50 no matter what. But there's your wick off top. It goes to 360 and then pulls back in. Now I'm just jumping right back into the short position on this name. Those are dangerous situations to ever be caught in a long. Look, it's fine if you're in a long and you want to hold it through a level like that, just in case it takes out like 365, 370 and keeps on going. If you've taken profit on the way up, that's fine. It's another thing to go long on a 350 level when you have that overhead resistance. This time, I want to see it break 330. Now you want to see it follow in. Like it's made that double top, failed break, or at least attempting to make a failed break. There is that next level at 367 on the daily chart, maybe even 370. So I'm looking now all the way down to this 310 level, and then VWAP down at about 290. So that's the only trade I have on here. Probably, I don't know if anything else will happen. I mean, I was looking for some bottoms, but the futures on the NASDAQ just made another leg lower. So if you're in a short, you hold it. If you want a long, you be patient. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. We are waiting for that. The only long that I was looking at here, and I'll probably should have taken it again, was Microsoft down here at that 282 bottom. We should have had that, and then we'd be ringing the register for 50 cents. But again, we don't have it, so no registers being rung right now on that trade. Just a quick check back in. Oh, wow, AMD now 104.50 to the downside as that just keeps on going. And look at this. Like, no love for AMD here today. Just keeps on making the move to the downside. We are, I want to hit this long. Yesterday, we were looking at this. I think it was 104 yesterday. Yesterday, 2 days ago. Yesterday was a monster day. You couldn't go 104. But that's where we closed. So we closed here 2 days ago, which was the bottom right there. So every time you say that, Randy, who do you mean? I mean, is that Brendan? All right, well, let's go to Brendan.
Let's get some earnings for you guys. We have Rivian, obviously, we discussed in the pre-market a little bit here, but a few others to come tonight and tomorrow morning.
Yeah, what the hell? I didn't even.
Well, wait, look. Oh, Rivian reports earnings? No, we haven't talked about that at all. So, I know, that's hilarious. And Longeveron was another one. By the way, the Longeveron had moved ahead of earnings. Blink was another name. It never actually broke that 26 for me, but I still liked it on a 26 break. Check the daily chart on Blink, and it's got a huge short interest as well. But there's a lot here. Oracle, sort of a legacy name, but DocuSign's still pretty expensive, and that's another one that we know can move. I suppose maybe WeWork could do something. I can't remember the last time I looked at WeWork, so I'm not even sure where that's trading right now. But it has been volatile in the past, I suppose.
Yeah, WeWork has been. This is Oracle right now. Oracle with a juicy PE of 14 right now, down here to 74. So again, if they beat, man, old tech becomes new at some point, right? Maybe not. But Oracle right now could have a nice move. You are bottoming out here. You do have that wick bottom down to $70. Join us at 2 o'clock when Neil and I will be back live with Brendo, and we are going to have Daniel Shea on today. So if you did have any questions about like how to play earnings, or maybe you wanted to get long Oracle but you just want to play the options, what might be some good strikes, line up those questions, tweet them at me, tag at Daniel Shea, and hopefully she'll be able to see them before we come on the show. But what's up to Bradley Taylor? Yeah, today's been a super successful day, man. Really, there we go. There you go, Randy. But you asked, could Rivian see $40? I mean, it saw 40.70 already down here on the downside. We're still short this name, so yeah, it could. could, and it could do it in the afternoon as everyone runs for the gates as they do report. And look, I would not want to be long Rivian into the report, would you?
God.
So that would be a question that you'd have to ask yourself. But without any further ado, sorry, Christian, we're running out of time here. Hopefully Trader Prad can look at CrowdStrike for you. He'll be picking some levels on that, I'm sure. That was already a nice trade for me, CrowdStrike today. Just as much money on Crowd as an Oxy for me today. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, it's a busy morning so far. Thank you so much for starting this trading day with us. And come join Prad and me right after to continue our trading. So I will see you later, and happy National Mario Day.
Dun, 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 dun,
Think of
dun.
the day.
Yeah, I love Super Mario. I'll be
Probably
playing
when
that.
it was created, I guess.
We were just playing it the other day. We were playing Super Mario or Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. Is hype. So we were playing that the other day. It sucks now because my 10-year-old could just beat me easily. But he knows all the secrets.
I know, that's the problem, right?
And
Like-
all that stuff. So he's rocking and rolling. I like to use Tanuki. Neil, I don't know if you've ever played it on the Switch.
So my nephew does have it, my nephew in Halifax, but he doesn't have Mario Kart. I think he might have it now, but when I was out there, he didn't have it. But
Who
yeah.
would your character be?
Look, man, I was
Go the classic,
I'm old
I
school,
don't know.
man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to always use Toad, but
Toad, okay.
No,
I
yeah.
like Yoshi. I like them all.
I was just a Toad guy. It just is what it is, man. I don't think it matters
I like
too much,
Tanuki
but,
Mario just because.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But you know who? You know they had back. You were at the Laurier, but they used to have like a tournament in, I forget the bar, but like they'd have a tournament in the bar, and you can
Maybe Wilf's.
My roommate in university, it was Wilf's. You're right. He actually won it. And I'm like, oh, you won. What did you win? And it was like a
drink.
chest.
Oh, what?
Like a big,
Wow,
heavy
where was
chest,
I?
like he was Mr. Dress Up. I'm like, what is he supposed to do with this thing? It was ridiculous. I'm
Yeah,
like,
what
what kind
the
of
heck
prize
is
is that? It was at a bar. I'm like, it was a really weird thing to have won. But anyways, shout out to you, Zane. Congratulations for winning that. But
Zane?
I still take you out.
Oh, I would deal with that guy in a heartbeat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so sticky notes going into my secret stash here because I'm getting ready to make an NFT. So that's yesterday's sticky note, goes away and we keep it there. And then we have today's sticky note as well. That seems to be pretty decent. But I do want to go over, you mentioned CrowdStrike quickly. We only have a minute left here, so we'll do that. Thank you, Ms. V. I did want to ask, I don't know if Ms. V plays Mario Kart, but we can ask her what her favorite is. I'm going to go over and ask Brendan in a second as well. Okay, so you want to know some levels for CrowdStrike. I'm thinking maybe 190 or so, 189 down into here. I'm nervous, though, if the market keeps fading. I mean, we're $2 in the money on Rivian. But again, CrowdStrike is bouncing off VWAP right now, so you could go long here. And if you like CrowdStrike long, just use that bottom wick right there of 190.50. So I think if you take 192, you do have upside if it goes $4 or $5, and the downside is 150. 3-1 we like. But before we go, Brendan Miss V's over there now, so we'll have to ask Brendan only. Before we go, Brendan, a character on for Mario Kart.
I hate to disappoint. I actually never got into it.
That's it.
I knew it. I see.
I was never.
As you were asking the question, I was like, I knew he's not into it. I just knew it. I knew it. We're gonna throw you to Trader Prad and Miss V. I know for sure Trader Prad has played the game because he's played every single game. But let's go get him. Market Movers.
To the Market Movers Show. It is time with Miss V and Prad on March 10th, Thursday. How's you doing, Miss V?
Yo, I'm doing great, Brad. How's your trading day going?
Not bad at all.
Good. I hope you guys having a good day. Let's continue trading. As usual, please be active on the chat, ask us anything, and give us your likes. By the way, referring to that Mario, never played. What about you?
Yeah, I play real racing car games like